We are live. Howdy,
Hey,
howdy,
Todd,
everybody.
how are you?
Good, Bob. Man, it's good to meet you in person. I met you the other day on your live stream,
Yes. And
but
I enjoyed our conversation the other day. We had a little conversation in private.
yeah, absolutely. It was great meeting you too. And it's kind of funny because this has kind of come full circle for me because even before carnivore, when I was just starting keto, I'd just come off of a low fat, high protein, moderate carbohydrate weightlifter diet that I'd been killing myself with for 14 months. And I found keto. And that was when I found your videos. I think it was actually about 5 or 6 years ago. And I think because how long were you taking a break for?
Oh, probably about 10 years. Not really, but because I came back in 2017 for a little bit, but not much. But yeah, it's been, it
Yeah,
was
so
a good 9 years, but 10 years from the active part of my
I
channel.
got you. So that must have been right a little bit after you had taken a break because I saw your videos and I watched the viral one, "Butter Makes My
Yeah.
Pants Fall Off," and that was one of the videos that started my brain going in the right direction. Now that I find out, and so and then I heard that you were taking a break and you might not be back on, and so I was like, "Dang it! I wanted to talk to that guy." I need some
Well, the
information.
rumor had it online that I was dead, and the rumor had it that I had a high calcium score, which I didn't have a perfect one, but I didn't have a high one, and everything. My grandkids said, Paul, they think you're dead online. I said, really? I said, what's news to me?
Right. I know. I just took a 3 month break here to catch up on work,
Oh,
and
yeah, you were dead then. You died of a heart attack.
I kept getting RIPs in my comments, and then people were DMing me on Instagram going, "Are you alive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just working, and I just needed to get some stuff off my plate so that I could concentrate better." But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt.
But I was going to see for my audience that's in here today, for anybody that doesn't know, but I'm sure most of my audience knows, I was going to see if you wanted to give a little bit of your story and your origin here into
Sure.
the carnivore diet, and then I'll do the same for your audience just so that we can get acquainted with each other's audience, and then we'll
Yeah.
go into the conversation. While I'm saying that, you guys out there watching, please put cues in front of your questions, but we'd love to get your questions up here to answer some
Yeah.
questions for you
Yeah.
guys. So if you can start putting some questions in there with cues in front of it, be much appreciated. With that, the floor is yours, Bob.
Well, I guess the diet, the Butter Bob thing kind of starts in 2012, and that's the year my wife passed away. And so I moved to another town. I got rid of our house and moved to another town, and I was kind of alone. And I had of course, my work and stuff. And I was fat and miserable, broke. I mean, you name it. I was not in a good place. Now I have family, but it seemed like I was just out of it for a while there. So sometime in April of 2013, my son graduated from college, and we went to a graduation ceremony in Nashville, and I couldn't even sit in the chairs, And I have that in the Butter Makes Your Pants Fall Off. I couldn't sit in a chair because I was so fat that I couldn't sit in the chair because the handrails on the chair wouldn't allow me, so we had to sit way up top. And I thought, I've got to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I didn't. I just went online and finally figured it out and got and found the low carb, high fat diet. There was a fairly popular guy back in those days, and I watched him. He's kind of has a checkered history now, and Jimmy Moore. He did some things and ended up in a lot of trouble. But back then, he had a show, and I watched that show, and every book they mentioned, I got that book and I read it, and so I just began the diet, and I was all alone and just did it on my own, the best way that I knew how. Of course, you guys today know more about it than we did then. Actually, you fine tuned it and fine tweaked it like we didn't know back then. And I just kept losing weight and losing weight, and I was feeling better, and I was feeling better about myself. I was feeling better about life. I started doing some things to help my mind too by doing some mental exercises too, and get my confidence up and stuff like that. And I just got so frustrated towards the end when I was really, had lost all the weight. Why isn't anybody making this diet and this lifestyle? Why don't they boil it down so the common person could understand it? I've always been a, a working class guy. I was in supervision, but I understand the working class mentality. I understand, and that's not a slur against them. I love working class people, and I want, how can I boil this down so that somebody could understand it? So what I would do is I would go I would get in my car, and I would talk into my phone and record things, and I just record them over and over again. Then I'd come home and I'd write them out longhand until I finally got a fairly decent script that said what I wanted to say. And I kept tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. Then one night, I was working nights at that time. Excuse me. One night I thought, okay, tonight's the night. So I put on a blue shirt and I put my phone up on top of the TV cabinet, and I just I made Butter Makes Your Pants Fall Off. And I mean, I guess all my hard work paid off, because that thing still, after all these years, most videos fail. It's not me. It's just I wanted to do something good, and I think God Himself helped that thing to go out there, because it's helped a lot of people. Now, is it the video that you need for fine tweaking your diet? No. Are there better people that understand this better? Yeah, probably. But my video speaks to just Joe Q public. That's who it speaks to, and it can help them. But so it just went from there. And I'll tell you, I put it out. I put the video out, and since I had watched Jimmy Moore a lot online, I just sent a little. We didn't have as much open communication even back then as we do now. I sent a little email to his living La Vida Low Carb, whatever, and he actually watched it and shared it to his fans. And then Butter Makes Your Pants Fall Off was off to the races from that point on. And no matter what's happened in the in the years since, with Jimmy, I tell you, Jimmy Moore and his former wife is still in my prayers, and they're on my prayer list, because he did a good turn towards me, regardless of what else happened in his life. And I'm not trying to discuss that now, but because he did such a kind thing to me, I pray for him always, every day. So that's kind of my story. And I did the diet, and I was pretty active online for probably 3 years, and had a lot of fans. People are hard to believe that when I left the channel, and when I quit doing it, we only had 18,500 subscribers at that time. So from 18.5 to the 127,000 we have today, that was all a God thing, 100%, because it wasn't me. And when I came back, my grandchildren asked me to come back and make shorts out of my videos, because they're proud of me. This is a big thing, Paul. You should pay more attention to this. So I finally agreed to do it. And when I read it, I was just so humbled. So it really hit me. It hit me that I was a modern day Jonah. I was sent on a mission, and I ran off, and the whale swallowed me, as you can see. And now I'm back, and I'm here to learn too now in these days. Instead of being the teacher, I'm trying to be the student. So that's about my story. I could ramble on forever. Go ahead.
Well, we'll definitely get back to that. But yeah, I think you're definitely right. I think that's what we're seeing right now is the working class, the common people are tired of being lied to, and tired of being sick, and tired of putting up with it. And I think nobody's buying this white coat professional, it knows best nonsense anymore. And everybody's looking, thank God, lots of trouble comes with the internet and social media, and there's a lot of bad things on there, but there's a lot of good things on there too. And it lets us get, the truth. They're trying real hard to suppress it, but they're not having much luck. And that's what I love about the carnivore communities, and just the health communities in general, is that you can lie to people until you see a whole community of people doing it and restoring their health and getting their life back. And that resonates with people way more than all the nonsense that's out there, right? When people really get to a point where they need to make a change, and they've done everything the doctors are doing or
Yes.
telling them to do, and it didn't work, and they just feel lost. But then they see people doing it. That speaks way louder than any of the propaganda nonsense that's out there. And
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that shift now, and it's pretty amazing. And it's just a blessing to be a part of it, because
100%. 100%.
yeah, to just build that community. So yeah, and on that note, I'll start. I mean, I fought weight my whole life. I was 300 pounds when I was like 8 years old. I was 600 pounds when I was 14 years old. I've been on every diet you can think of. As of to date, I've lost and gained about 14 or 1500 pounds in my life. And I'd lost 300 pounds twice in one shot before, and 200 pounds twice in one shot before, and gained it all back so fast it'd make your head spin. And the
I know.
second, yeah, I mean, the second time I lost 300 pounds, it was really kind of the last straw. I thought after that I was giving up, because I thought the whole time that if I looked a certain way and I got down to a certain weight, that I would be healthy and happy, and my depression, suicidal ideation, and anxiety would go away, and it was worse.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel better. I felt lighter. Yeah, there were certain things that were easier, but I didn't feel any better.
No.
And I was like, that was because then it's just like, what? Well, then what is broken? Because we've all been lied to believe that weight, excess weight, is the cause of all these problems. It's the thing to blame. And excess weight is for excess. You're eating in excess and you can't control yourself, and you're broken, and you got to deal with your trauma, and you have to restrict, and you have to do all these things. And the reason why everybody's overweight is because everybody has all become slothful and lazy and weak-willed, and it's your guys' fault. That's the message, right? And so when I finally did that, which by the way I was eating 2,000 calories a week for 17 months and working out like 6 days
Wow.
a week.
Wow. Oh, per week?
Per week, 2,000 calories a week. And I did that for 17 months. I starved to death. My mental health went downhill. I actually lost so much muscle from doing that. And my joints went to hell, and I tore a rotator cuff. I tore a knee in that time, had to have knee surgery. Everything just went to hell. And when I came back, I damaged my metabolism so bad that I gained it back and then some. And that sent me on a spiral to the worst health that I ever got into. And that took me basically all the way through into 2016, when I put all the weight back on and then some. I was about 650 pounds at that time. And then my life really went downhill. It was during a bad time in our business. Looked like we could go bankrupt any day. The family business, and the company my brother owns and that I work for, and so that was high stress. And my wife left me, and so that went bad. And then my dad was dying from leukemia, and then right in there, some things went on in the Bakken in North Dakota, and my brother, they medically gave him the wrong medicine. It ended up ruining his heart at 39 years old, and he was in a nursing home, weren't sure if he was going to make it, and he was waiting for a heart transplant. And so all that went off, and then my health really went downhill, and I was in the ICU several times because my oxygen, one time it got down to 55% oxygen saturation,
Wow.
and
Wow.
they had to put me in the ICU for 11 days because they didn't have enough oxygen in the regular rooms to even get me into the 80s. And so I was pushing through that. And that got me to 2017, and dad and Ty both died 11 days apart.
That's crazy.
And so I won't get into the grim details, but I was planning on not being here anymore because I had given up. And through certain events there, I decided to give diet one more shot. And at this time, I'd been listening to Jordan Peterson even before he was really into carnivore, and but I was a big fan of his,
Me too.
and I was listening to him, And I remember he said, you have to negotiate with yourself, and you can have anything you want in 5 years if you know what it is and you aim at it. And then you have to negotiate it with yourself to the smallest degree that you can handle consistently of what change you're going to make. So
Right.
I decided to implement that, and that was to stop drinking any calories. And so that was where I started. Things got a little bit better. And then I was trying to figure out a diet to do that I hadn't done before or whatever. And I really couldn't think of one. And I went to uh, a weightlifter diet. So I went to high protein, low fat, almost no fat, and moderate carbohydrates. And I went on that. And I was resolved that I'm going to hold on to this no matter what. And I did that stupid diet for 14 months, and my mental health had never
Wow.
been worse.
Wow.
And at the end of 14 months, I'd lost 37 pounds in 14 months, and I'd never been more miserable. I'd never had worse depression. I mean, I was just having to figure out anything to get me out of bed in the morning. And it was just like I was Velcroed to that thing. Everything felt so heavy. I was so low energy that I was about to crack. But so I looked up, how do you make chicken not dry? Because all I was eating was white breast chicken meat,
Oh,
brown rice,
oh,
no sauces or seasoning. And I was eating turkey sausage and egg whites in the morning, some almonds, and some no fat Greek yogurt. That was my entire diet for
oh,
14 months. And I was doing this, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to hold on any longer, because I like 14 months is as long as I can do it. If I don't make this chicken taste better, something is going off the rails, because I've reached the end of my rope. And I started looking up on YouTube, how do you make chicken not dry when you're just having white meat, dry chicken breasts. And I actually found Guga's channel, Sous Vide Everything. And I started watching that channel, and he kept sous videing picanha steaks and ribeyes. And it was making me so hungry and salivate watching that I ordered the sous vide machine. And when it got here, I was like, before I go back to chicken, I just want to have one of those ribeyes that Gugu has been doing on that channel. And what he does is he would sous vide them and then fry them in butter, and they look
mm,
just amazing. So
yeah,
I said, I'm going to try that one, but I was already lying to myself, because I'd ordered a pack of 3 giant ribeyes. So I knew I was
right,
having at least 3. But then I sat there and I figured, well, if I don't have any of the carbs, I can have this and be pretty close. If I just eat one of these a day, I can have this and be in the same roughly protein and same calories. I just won't have the carbs.
right,
And what blew my mind is I had one ribeye seared in butter each day for 3 days. And after that 3 days, I lost 9 pounds. My depression got much better.
yeah,
I had energy and I felt amazing.
yeah,
And that's what spun me onto this. And unfortunately, at the time, I should have just kept doing what I was doing. But I searched out, why would I lose 9 pounds in 3 days? Because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that it was the inflammation that I'd lost. And I didn't know that my hormones felt good from the fat, and that that's why I got some relief from the depression. And so I researched it online, and it took me to keto, unfortunately. And when I got to keto, I was all in on keto for about 2 years. But anybody that knows anything about keto, they have all these recipes for how to make basically the standard American diet food taste like, low carb. So you get into the almond flour and the xylitol and all the
I
fake
used to
shit.
rail against it, rail against it. This has been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No one listened to me, but I used to
Oh,
just go, don't do that. Go ahead.
exactly. Well, and so I got into that, but that kept all the old cravings alive, and
Yeah,
it just
of
lit
course
my
it
brain
does.
on fire. So I couldn't stay on it. I kept falling off, and I kept just going back and forth and back and forth. And I must have stopped and started keto, I don't know, 40 times in that 2 years, And then I completely fell off everything, and I was kind of just mentally wore out, because I thought I'd found something. I didn't at the time know the difference. And then I started researching carnivore, but that was like the end of 2020. and I started seeing Carnivore come up, and I had been getting sicker and sicker again because I went on another tank
Roller
my
coaster.
metabolism and another up and down. So this time I started getting sick, and I actually started having to work from home. My weight went back up. I was losing strength, and I finally just withdrew from the world and started working at home because I couldn't go to the office anymore. And and COVID hit right then, and the 2020. And so in 2021, anyhow, I decided I was going to start Ketovore, like, because I had realized that all the recipes had got me off it, but I could probably have salad and carnivore things and be okay as long as I limited the cheese, didn't do any of this fake sweeteners and all of those things. And right in that time, I got COVID. Well, what happened was is I decided I was going to do a 40-day fast to start off because I was still in the mindset of calorie restriction and doing all these things. And I decided I'm going to do a 40-day fast, start this off right. And I made it to day 21. And I didn't realize that if you don't pay attention on those really long fasts, if you don't pay attention to potassium's actually very important for your blood plasma. And I had pulled all the potassium out of my blood plasma, and I lost a bunch of red blood cells. So I'd lost a bunch of my red blood cells. So on day 21, I started having like an asthma attack, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but
Wow.
I couldn't breathe. So I had to go to the hospital. They had to give me red blood cell injection. And when I was in there, I caught COVID.
Of
And
course.
yep,
That's the place to catch it.
exactly. And so I came home, and a friend of mine who was 37 years old, way healthy guy, outdoorsman, he had caught COVID a week before me, and he went into the hospital and they put him on a respirator and he died.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not doing that, or I'm a dead man, because I was about 650 pounds at that time.
Oh, they'd
And
put you right on it if
oh,
you went in.
for
Yeah.
sure. So I didn't go in, and I don't care what anybody thinks, but the fact of the matter is I stayed at home and I took ivermectin horse dewormer,
Yeah.
and that saved my bacon. I was sick as a dog for 14 days,
Yeah.
and I was laying out of my chair coughing up blood clots that looked like bronchial tubes. I was hacking them out of my lungs. My oxygen was real low, but I survived. And during that time, though, I did survive, but I got COVID lung from that, so I couldn't breathe and I had water in my lungs. And I got congestive heart failure. And so between the fluid in my lungs, being so sick and having such high fever for a long time, and then having congestive heart failure, the next 3 weeks I gained 84 pounds of fluid and I ballooned up like a
Wow.
water balloon.
Wow.
And so I started eating ketovore, and I was trying to get that fluid off of me, and I was just fighting every day just to breathe. And about 3 months of doing that, nothing much was moving, but I was just hanging on. And then I woke up. I was every time I was sleeping in a recliner.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
every time I was sleeping in that recliner, I'd wake up and I'd have a terrible headache because I would stop breathing at night for periods of time, and I'd have hypoxia or whatever it's called. And I would usually be able to shake it off at about 45 minutes of being awake and doing some deep breathing. But then one night, something really bad must have happened. And I woke up and I didn't know what day it was. I couldn't string together words. I couldn't think. I was just completely disoriented. Didn't know what was going to happen. So they had to take me into the hospital. And of course, that was fun because at that time I was well over 700 pounds. I could have been 750 pounds. I have no clue where I was at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had to take me into the hospital. And when I got there, they spent 11 days pumping fluid off me, pumping me full of drugs. And they said what had happened was I had had a stroke. And that's why I couldn't
Wow.
form sentences or speak
Wow.
very well. And so I spent 11 days in the hospital. They set me up with home oxygen, a CPAP for sleep apnea, and then a bucket of new medications that I was supposed to take. There's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 new medications. I don't really remember because pretty soon I'll tell you how I never took one of them even a single time.
Wow.
But I had this bucket of medications, and then I had like 8 different specialists that I was supposed to go see and do telemental health calls. And they basically said, if you don't do something drastic and take all these medications and do these therapies, you're not going to live another 3 years, and you might not live another year.
Wow.
And I
Really?
said, yeah. And so I went home and I sat in that chair, and then I thought about Dad and Ty. And I thought about how I watched both of them take medication and go to these same doctor's visits and go to all the specialists and do all the things that they were told all the way to the grave. And all I ever seen happen to them was that they go to a doctor's appointment, take the medication, come home, not get any better, get more sedentary, look sicker, and then go to another doctor's appointment, and they would give them another medication for whatever had happened in that 4 to 6 weeks. And then their whole life became doctor's appointments and medications and home nursing calls and just this
Yeah.
life. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I know where that leads. I don't believe in this. And I'd watched enough on carnivore and keto and diet to know that's, and watch Gary Taub and Robert Lustig to realize that they're definitely lying to us.
100%. They
Yeah.
have
And
been. Yeah.
100%. So I took that bucket of medication they sent me home with that they told me if I didn't take, I was going to die. And I threw it in the garbage, and I opened my Bible, and I just said a quick prayer, and I said, God, you're either going to heal me or I'm going to go see Dad and Ty, and I'm okay with either. And I just said that prayer. And from there on out, every day when I woke up and I had my phone, I'd wake up and I'd have a symptom at night or a thought about something that I was dealing with. And there would be a carnivore video on my phone that talked about the why that was that same problem that was on my mind and having that night. There'd be a carnivore video on my phone talking about why it was happening and how to fix it.
Wow. That's great.
And so that's when I started carnivore, and I started doing that. And within just just under 7 months, I was off oxygen. I had lost about 158 pounds of all that fluid came off me. I went from being on oxygen and my oxygen saturation being 88% and my resting heart rate being 108 beats a minute
Wow.
down to no oxygen. I was on 6 liters of oxygen, which is a hefty amount of
A
oxygen.
lot. Yeah.
And I gotten off of that and gotten off of or gotten my oxygen saturation to 96% with no oxygen, and my resting heart rate was down to like I think at that time 72 beats a minute. So I
That's
was
great.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, we're going in a great direction.
7
And
months.
7 months.
Wow. That's great.
And I could speak again. Like I still had, sometimes I would have trouble reaching a word that I was looking for, but I could speak pretty fluently and string together sentences again. And it was time for my checkup with my cardiologist. And I was pumped to tell him the news of the fact that I thought he was going to celebrate with me, that I hadn't taken any of the medication, that I was off the oxygen, that all my vitals were up, that my color was better, that I'd basically been able to speak again. And I was excited to tell him the good news. And when I talked to him, he listened to me and just with a condescending tone. And then he
Yeah.
goes, well, I have to tell you, I'm really worried about your diet. And that's what he told me. And then I almost turned red when he said that. And I thought about the 11 days in the ICU. Nobody ever talked to me about my diet. They didn't give a crap about my diet when they were prescribing me pills and specialists to go see. They didn't care.
No.
But now that and he goes, you haven't been taking your medication, and I'm worried about your diet. Those were the only two things he was worried about. And so I told him, I said, you know what I'm worried about? I said, I'm worried about your brain because I think you're mentally ill. Because if you had given me a pill that it had this kind of results, I'd be plastered on every drug billboard from here to Timbuktu for having these kind of results in 7 months and this kind of turnaround. And because I did it with steak and eggs and bacon, and you didn't get your pockets lined, you're trying to tell me that my diet's bad when it's the
Good for you.
exact thing that you told me not to do. And it's the exact thing that healed me, not your damn drugs.
Good for you. I hope you pissed him off real good.
Yeah. And so until just about 3 months ago, I had never seen a doctor again. I was like, I don't care what condition I'm in, I'm not talking to these people because they're not on my side. And so I said, the hell with it. And for the record, 3 years ago was 3 months ago, and I'm still alive. I'm sorry to disappoint those doctors.
So
I'm
until
still
you
alive.
started doing some advanced work on your at the end of your healing, which you could get into later, I'm sure, you've
Yeah.
pretty much left the doctors alone all this time.
Yeah, I did. I never talked to them, not a single time. I said, screw these people. They're going to lead me in the wrong direction because, look, I'm not saying every doctor is a bad person. I'm
No,
just saying the institution that trained them is is propaganda. They did it for a money-making scheme. They're not healthcare, they are sick care, and they want to treat symptoms of sick people and not work on root causes because there's way more money and control in that. And
they're drug dealers.
yep, they are drug
There's
dealers.
no difference to a guy that's selling a bag of meth out here than that to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, for me too. And like I think we have the greatest doctors in the world when it comes
Yeah.
to wound care and trauma.
Yeah.
But I think as far as disease and sickness, I think it's an absolute money scheme, and they want us sick. And I'm not talking about the doctors. I'm talking about the medical system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I can't stand it. And in turn, they also turned our food environment into recreational drugs too. That helps feed us to the system of the drug care stuff. And that's what my eyes woke up to. And that's what I've been fighting again ever since. And then also at that 7 month mark, I'd been watching Carrie Mann at Homestead How, and Bill Knott came up about 6 months after I'd started. And so that was why I started my YouTube channel, was to reach out to Bill Knott because he was 700 pounds. And he had said, I'm dying. This is my last chance. He put that heartfelt message out. And I just wanted to make a message to Bill Knott. That's why if you look on my channel.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
it.
And that was why I made that message, because when I was looking, there was nobody that was as big as me that had ever come back from that. And I was just looking for some hope. So I thought I could give Bill some hope, because I'm like, dude, this is something to get excited about.
Did
Because
you?
yeah, yep, and we got a hold of Bill, and now we know each other and
That's great.
made contact. And but that was why, because when I was looking, I didn't see anybody as big as me. I didn't see anybody on this side of, there's not that I'm special at all. It's just that I didn't see somebody in my shoes that were, had come back from it. And so I wanted, like, I can't tell you how uncomfortable I was in that video. I did not want to be on camera.
No,
I did not,
that's
I didn't.
okay.
No,
Todd, if you just save one person,
for sure.
just one.
Yeah.
We think we have to save 1,000 people. No, just save one person. One.
Yeah. 100%.
That's it.
Yeah.
Of course, we want to do more, but if we can only help one person, we've done a good thing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, I
Especially
had no.
the people who no one's paying attention to. They can't get any money out of them. They're not going to get any prestige. They don't want to put you on the face of their product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 100%. And I think that our stories are the biggest antidote to the propaganda out there, because you can say a lot of things and you can fearmonger, but you can't take away these results, and you can't take away these stories. And these hit way closer to home. This is why I donate my time in Steak and Butter Gang. And I talk about this, and it's my favorite place, because one, I talk about this all the time, but Gary Taub, one of the things that woke me up was when Gary Taub talked about how you could put a gun to 8 billion people's head and you could not get them to change in masses and change their behavior like an environment can. The only way to change the masses behavior is with environment. And I realized that, they've attacked our food environment, right?
Yeah.
And when he said that, I realized that SBG is my new environment, because it's the antidote of the noise that's out here. Because when you go in there and you see hundreds of people that are getting hit by the same fear mongering that, if you eat the bacon, if you eat the steak, high cholesterol, you're going to die. If you don't take these drugs,
100%.
you're going to die.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and you watch people day after day come back with positive blood tests and positive, like, that are contradictory to everything they told us. And you see the life come back in their eyes, and you see the color come back in their face, and their skin improve, and the weight coming off, and them getting stronger, and not fighting with all these debilitating things, you go, oh, yeah, I don't have to be scared out here. I don't have to listen to this nonsense out here. And that's what, so I always say that, find a carnivore community, even if it's just YouTube, even if it's just friends getting together, because when you see that in real time, that speaks volumes over all the bullshit that all these guys
100%,
are. Yeah.
100%. It really does, and it gives people hope because there's so many people, Todd, out here in this world that they've given up
Hmm.
because they've been to the doctor, they've been everywhere, they've tried every diet, and nothing works. Because and they're afraid to try the one thing because look, our overlords, they understand this game. They understand that what they're doing is wrong, and they understand the truth about the fat. That's why
Hmm.
they fight it so much. They literally know the answer to what's going on, but their bank account can't afford it. So they have demonized fat and told people, no, you're fat because you don't have any willpower. You're a worthless slug that can't control how much you eat.
Yep.
And I had somebody on my channel, some person, which I'll just, oh, you're playing the victim. Were you going to speak about that? Playing the victim? Because I've
Oh,
never
for sure.
seen anybody that was not a victim, but we are victims.
Right. And so here's how I think about it. And this is my favorite quote on this is that we're all like, nobody's getting out of this world without struggles, right? Which is,
Oh,
and a lot of them aren't fair. And
no,
so I'm not a fan of claiming victim status, but I am
right.
a fan of understanding that we're under attack and
100%.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to understand our enemy. So my favorite quote is that hell comes for us all. And when hell comes to breakfast, you have two choices. You can come out of it with scars or you can come out of it with tools. Because when you come out of it with scars, you're letting it take from you. And when you come out of it with tools, you're taking from it. And next time, you're going to break trail. You're going to be able to show people how to get out of there with those tools. And you're
100.
going to show them what you learned. Right.
Yes.
And I think, there's so much data out there that, well, I'll just say this. For 39 years, I hated my situation. I hated my body. I hated the struggle that I was at. I hated how broken I was. I hated all of that. And now, in just 39 months, I wouldn't trade it for nothing
No.
because
No.
of where it brought me and what I now know and how, the thing that it forged me into is way stronger than that thing that was struggling and way stronger than the person that I would have ever been if I never faced the struggle. It forced me to learn, it forced me to sacrifice my ego and my pride. And that just gives you empathy and you'll just love people more and you just care about people more. And
Well,
I
I think
wouldn't, yeah,
I think that's the pattern. It's the pattern. We're both believers. I think God puts us through the furnace sometimes to smelt out the dross, so that the good metal, the silver and gold, can shine through. But
exactly.
it's no fun going through the fire. It's no fun. It's not fun at all. And sometimes it's very, very lonely.
Mhm. Well, and the thing is, once you come out though with understanding and tools, it starts to get fun because now, I wake up and go, try to throw something at me today. I'll knock it out of the park today. You don't know where I came from, you
I
don't know
love
what I know. Like, I don't care what comes at me. Nothing shakes me now, and I don't care because I've been to death. I've had a foot in the grave. I've seen all the crap. I had to sacrifice my ego and say, I don't care if I die tomorrow and go see dad and Ty, that's fine, but I'm doing it on God's terms and I'm letting him take the wheel. And once you do that, it's so freeing.
Yeah, yes, it is,
Yeah.
Todd. It is. It is. And you can do good when you no longer trying to protect yourself.
Mhm.
You're here in the battle. Here I'm here for the fight. And
For
if I
sure.
get killed, I'm okay with that too.
100%. Like this is, they don't know what they created, but they created something very dangerous by letting me come back and picking a fight with me in that medical system because I don't care if I die. I don't care where I go. on this planet, and none of this is all temporary, and I don't care. So it's like there's a song, I won't take a knee for a seat at anybody's table. And I love that because it's like, you have a whole new focus, and it's like when nothing matters anymore here and only truth and meaning and helping people matter, then you're so free that it's crazy how God works in that environment.
Yeah.
He's like, now I got you where I want you. And now we can go to work. Now you can walk in your purpose that I put you here for. It's pretty crazy how dramatic that is.
Well, I was, and I don't know how far you want to go into your personal story, but when we spoke, and I won't reveal anything, seems like God's healed more in your life than just your health. He's
Oh,
helped you
that's
with your finances. He's helped you with your friendships. He's helped in every conceivable area. He's healed you.
yeah, and I won't talk about some of it just
No,
now.
no, no. I'm not.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, and I know that you're not, but I was just going to tell the audience in a year you'll know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
And uh it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It is a Joseph story, no joke. And that came from like uh I don't know. I can't even quantify it. It's so crazy how fast it's worked. And not only that, but literally about 3 months ago now, the hand of God came down and healed my back. And I don't care what anybody thinks of it. You couldn't talk me out of it because I have medical records showing that in that night when God healed my spine and straightened spinal stenosis, I grew an inch and a quarter overnight because my spine straightened.
I
I
love it.
mean,
I love it.
yeah, I mean, it was the hand of God, and I'm telling you, good Lord, I can, and this is all. For about 19 years, I struggled with not just kind of a bad gambling addiction, a terrible gambling addiction, and it all came from just trying to soothe brokenness and trying to, I was chasing anything but having to sit in it and find God and humble myself and sacrifice my ego. But and if I have anything to tell anybody, you don't have to let it go as far as I did, but we're all going to go to where we have to go for God to get our attention and
100%. 100%.
to to have that relationship. But now, I mean, that was the biggest blessing I ever went through, coming that close to death and being that miserable to where he could finally calm me down and get my attention was exactly where he wanted me. And then he was able to go to work. And it's been insane. And I don't have a single addiction. I'm not addicted to anything. I'm not a slave to anything anymore. It's so crazy how that 9 month turnaround was insane.
I
Or
wanted
that,
to shout. I'm old fashioned. We had shouting churches back when I was a kid. I wanted to shout after we talked on the phone the other day. I just thought, I need to shout. Of course, I was at work, so I couldn't shout, but I was shouting inside.
for sure.
I love to hear when someone gets some victory after a long, hard battle, long, hard. And I know it's not over,
For
but I'll
sure.
tell you the worst of it probably is. You know,
Well, and I mean, I can just tell you, like, in our other business, we were even running out of work, and God brought us out of nowhere, huge job today, and just dropped it on our lap. This stuff happens every day now, and I don't worry about anything. I sleep like a baby because I'm like, and this is the thing, even it's going to be hard to say this without revealing things I don't want to reveal yet.
well, don't if
But
you don't want to. Yeah,
I just want to say that there was things in my carnivore process that I wanted to try, which you guys will be hearing about. I'm not keeping things from you guys because I'm ashamed of them or because I'm, trying to be dishonest. I'm testing a few things that here in another 6 months I've gone through the test and then I'll feel comfortable about giving you my opinion on them. But those things were expensive and I had no idea how I was going to afford them. But I just was like, there is no lack. God's my supply. I don't own anything anyways. None of this is mine.
amen.
And so if he sees fit to have it, and without fail, every time I needed the money, it was there. And
Amen.
things and people that I wanted to help, no matter what, the money was there to help them. And it came every time. And so, I mean, it's just crazy. Right. And so I'm not trying to turn this into I'm where I'm preaching to you, but if I can't hold this back anymore because it's the truth and
Yeah.
it's what's been going on. And it's so much more exciting than just carnivore alone. So
Well,
I
I
got
love everybody regardless of what their
for
personal
sure,
religious feelings are. But
for
I
sure.
have my opinion too. I can have my opinion as much as they can have theirs.
Yeah, me as well. And I mean,
Right.
I'm just trying to tell the exact honest truth of what's going on in my
Yeah.
life and what was impactful, you know.
And people need, I think people need encouragement sometimes, to see. Yeah, you need everything you just said, though. You weren't saying, boy, I just started carnivore and everything was sunshine and roses. No, it was still a struggle,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I mean, it did get better quickly, but in certain ways.
yeah, in certain ways it did, you
Yeah.
know. But, this is why so and I don't even like to say this because I feel like it's almost uh egotistical or something, but I have people they get mad at me because they act like well, the carnivore is easy for you because I haven't fallen off in 39 months and I've stayed super diligent to it. And what I want to say is, first of all, I did all my falling off in the keto days and for the 26 years before that. So I did a lot of falling off. And I certainly am not here healed because I have superhuman willpower. You don't get to 715 pounds plus with superhuman willpower.
No, you don't.
And I'm not, God used carnivore. He could have sent me any video. He didn't. He sent me carnivore videos.
Of course.
And so there's something there. But I will tell you that the biggest change was having a come to Jesus moment where, I had been stuck in, especially from the gamble and all that stuff. I was just miserable and shame and beating myself up and I wasn't worthless. And there was a point where I was getting in my Bible and watching these videos that I was like, what am I doing wrong here? And it was kind of um, like a revelation moment where God was, telling me that you've been chasing turning your physical body into a point that was going to fix your spirit. And that's not how it works. He
Right.
said, I got to give
Right.
you a new heart and you got to fix your spirit and you got to let me do it. And then your physical body will fall in line.
100%.
Yeah. And I see so many people, and I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm just telling you, I see so many people that think if you change the way you look and you change what the scale says, that you think that's going to fix the root cause, and it's not.
No.
The body's
No.
a symptom.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
100% a symptom. And this is one of the things I always stress. Now, the videos I made about it years ago, they were never very popular. But you have to, and I believed in God back in those days, but I wouldn't have considered myself a Christian, quote unquote. I mean, I may have, but I really am now, But back in those days, I realized that if you can't change your mind, you cannot change the world around you. You cannot change your life. You cannot change anything until you get. It starts up here. It starts in your spirit. Always the word first. The word first. The word creates the reality. It's not the other way around. It's never the other way around.
No.
What do you
Well,
think
and
about that?
100%. Like me and my brother talk about this all the time. How if you want to really figure out what God built this system for, take the world system and flip it 180.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So look at what the medical system does. It says there's 177 autoimmune conditions now. Well, all 177 of those that they gave labels to are symptoms of one root cause, and that is
100%. Yeah.
yeah, and that's our body and our environment changing from what God designed it to be. And if we put it back, and this is what carnivore does, look, I'm not going to argue that God created the Garden of Eden and we started out eating vegetables and fruits.
Yeah.
I totally believe that. But after the flood, God commanded us to eat meat, to eat animals. And I believe that there's a greater purpose to that. And personally, I believe it's because the flood ruined the environment that the plants stopped becoming healthy for us. And he knew that the
Possibly.
GMO, yeah. But I think there's something so prophetic to ruminant animals because they've always been the sacrificial animals. And think about what they were in a spiritual sense. They were the stand between sacrifice between our judgment and what we were what we should have had, the price we should have had to pay, and that saved us from it. And today I think that those ruminant animals stand between us and the sickness that we deserve, that we don't have to have, because God put them here to still be that sacrifice. Those ruminant animals, why I think so many people with really sensitive autoimmune, it's always the ruminant animals. It's never the chicken, it's never the pork, it's never all the fish or any of that. It's always the ruminant animals, because ruminant animals have four stomachs and they filter that all out. And I think there's still a very symbolic reason that carnivore is so healing. And it's because God knew at a certain point this earth was going to be in this state that it's in, and our environment was going to be in the state that it's in. And in his mercy, he still uses those ruminant animals today to stand between us.
That's a really good insight.
Yeah, to stand between us and what we would deserve, or what would the consequences of being here if they weren't there.
Yeah.
And so
I love that. Yeah.
that to me is why carnivore works. I believe that God put all things here to edify man, but I believe in this fallen world that this isn't the season for it. This is the season for ruminant animals. And I think that's what's helped me so much. And if God would have led me to a vegetarian channel, I'd be eating carrots and asparagus or something right now, and I'd be talking about it, but he didn't,
Yeah. But I mean, it's obvious that this is the right diet. I mean, I've had a lot of things to catch up on since I'm coming back, and I've been watching Dr. Anthony Chaffee a lot. Some of his videos on that plants are trying to kill us,
Mhm.
and he does a lot in the animals are fat eaters. I mean, they live on fat. This is something I made a video on way back called "Let's Do It." In other words, this diet is testified to in all mammals. Whether they eat it directly or they filter out all that stuff, like you said with the cattle and sheep, they filter it out in their gut.
100%.
Short chain fatty acids. So the cow that's eating grass is really living on a very, very high fat diet. And boy, if that doesn't wake you up a little bit, and then when you see plants, I have a nursery. That's what I do for a living. And plants will kill you. I mean, I love plants. I've always loved plants, but if you touch the wrong plant, it'll break you out. If you eat the wrong plant, it will kill you. I mean, plants are no joke. They have a defense mechanism like a lion, and they will bite you. But they're
100.
beautiful. They're beautiful. You don't have to necessarily touch them or eat them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, this thing is kind of obvious, and we're so divorced from our environment now. People don't understand that. I have customers that come in sometimes, and they'll say, "Well, which way does the sun come up in the morning?" So I can help them pick out, something for their house. A lot of them don't know. They don't know where the sun comes up. They don't know where the sun goes down.
Right. And I mean,
they're completely divorced from the world that they live in.
yeah,
And we can't be. Even if you're religious, you still have to live in the world that God put us in. He put us here in a real physical world. And we're going to be physical in the next world too. I'm sorry. The Bible's very clear about that. We are not to live in the spirit realm or only in the intellectual realm. We have to get our fingers dirty. Go ahead.
100%. 100%. And just, I mean, think about all the things we've been told. We've been told the sun's going to give us cancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The sun.
If it was that bad, how did our species persist? Even, no matter what you think, 4 billion or what is it, 4 million years or 13 million years or even 6,000. I don't care where you're at.
I don't care how long it is.
Yeah. Right. How are we still here? And we ate meat for so long. How are we getting all this vegetation during like the ice age? How are we getting
we were killing the nearest four-legged thing that came in front of us.
exactly. So it's to me, it's look, I don't care if like I'm not dogmatic. You eat if
I'm
you're
not.
yeah, if you're thriving on vegetables, if you're thriving on a calorie restrictive diet, the high volume calorie restrictive diet, if you're thriving and everything's good, then why would you change it? Like, I mean, I'd love to have rice and things and stuff because my old brain, those are much more palatable. I'm not gonna lie, they're great. But
You
the
know, the
fact
Southeast Asians, uh, like Hindus and people from India. I mean, that's kind of what they're adapted to. I'm not sure that it's the same for us, though. They have adapted to that diet for quite a long time. Some kind of a vegetarian diet. I'm not saying it's ideal, but maybe they're a little bit more. I mean, it's obvious there are people groups that cannot use dairy, but Europeans and Middle Easterners probably can use dairy. Maybe some don't let me speak out of turn. Maybe Asians maybe can't use dairy. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it's because our ancestors lived with these products for so long. So you just can't just pick and choose what you're going to do all of a sudden. Go ahead.
no. No, 100%. And that's why, I don't pretend all I know is my own results, my own path, and my own story. And I don't believe that what worked for me is going to work for 8 billion people on the planet. But I also don't believe that it's not going to work for 8 billion people on the
Well, I think
planet.
it would work for anybody. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it certainly could. And I do know, it's like me and Bob were talking a little bit about calorie restriction, and I get in this argument all the time, but from the lens that I look at it in, and from so many people that we see in SBG having the same struggle,
Yeah.
I will, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if you eat 10 pounds of meat a day for the next 10 years, that you're not going to gain weight because eating more molecules of protein and fat and all those things is going to create a bigger body. But my argument is that every time that I calorie restricted and I did it with the wrong foods, that my body wouldn't ever be satiated. My hormones were out of whack and my metabolism was tanked.
Yeah.
And what I found is that if you eat uh just naturally and listen to your body what it wants, even if it wants 5,000 calories of meat a day, which that was my story when we do a thing
Yeah.
called priming and fasting in SPG, where we focus on healing and nourishment and healing healing the nutrient deficit in your body and repairing your hormones, your endocrine system, your metabolic disease, your insulin resistance, all those things, healing it with fatty red meat, basically.
Yeah.
And then what happens is your body, once it's filled this, huge nutrient void that it's been in for so long, and your hormones heal, and your body heals, and your endocrine system heals, and your metabolic disease heals, and it raises your metabolism, then your body tunes down the hunger naturally through ghrelin and leptin,
Yeah.
brings it down naturally, which is how God intended it.
Yeah.
And then you start eating less and you just listen to the hunger. And when you take out all the noise of all the seed oils and all the preservatives and all the MSGs and all the things that make hyper palatable foods that hit the bliss point, you shut off that crazy noise. And then you can start to decipher between a dopamine craving and actual hunger signals. And then all of a sudden you get leptin sensitivity back.
Yeah.
And leptin sensitivity starts to satiate you instead of just being full. Isn't it crazy that we link hunger to being full and stretching out our stomach instead of being satiated? You
Yeah.
know, our whole society thinks of I've had enough to eat when I'm full. I don't, you
Yeah.
know, that's not how we're supposed to be. I can sometimes eat a pound and a half or 2 pounds of even 3 pounds of meat and before I'm satiated, but sometimes I can eat 10 ounces of meat and I'm satiated
Yeah.
because my body's now telling me what my needs are, what building blocks it needs,
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
it's life changing.
I like that, and I'm learning that from you too because, I was telling you privately the other day that the last week or so, or maybe a little bit longer, I started feeling very tired. And I'm a high energy guy. I've always been a high energy guy. But I was feeling a little bit tired, kind of sluggish. And I've taken your advice, something we talked about, and I've added a second meal because I can't eat anymore at the meal that I had. But I'm trying to keep it within a range. And I'm going to experiment with it. And if it doesn't work, I may expand it more because I want to feel good on this diet. And it's more important that I feel good than I try to force myself to lose a bunch of weight. And I'm not the same Bob I was, 13 years ago. I was 50 years old then. I'm 62 years old. Who knows? I may have to tweak it a little bit in this, in this. I still feel good. I still have appetite control, but I'm probably not eating enough. I go and look at the measurements for what I should be eating protein wise, and I was at a big deficit. No wonder I'm feeling bad. No wonder I'm feeling, yes, the appetite control is there, but you should also feel good. If your body's functioning right, your energy level should be a certain place. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
And I
And if it's
can't,
not, something's wrong. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, some things, man, I wish I would have saved the video. I have a hard time finding it now, but Thomas DeLauer or Dorn or whatever his name is, he had this video out like a year or two ago. He was like 8 tips or something from experts that you need to know. But anyhow, one of them was this professional MMA coach. And he was talking about how he said, when our fighters come in and they have to cut weight to get ready for a fight,
Yeah.
he said, they'll come in and they've been running 20 miles a day and working out. And they're like, I can't lose weight. And he said they were on like 1,400 calorie a day diet. And he goes, what's happening is it's shutting down their metabolism.
100%.
And that 1,400 calorie restriction, they're not able to eat enough protein that they're losing muscle mass too. And he said it's putting their body in fight or flight. And he's like, so what we started doing was feeding them 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day for like 3 weeks. And he said, after 3 weeks, we can tune them down to just like 2,800 calories a day, and they will lose a bunch of fat, maintain or gain muscle because it upregulates their metabolism. And this is the same thing that we're talking about healing. So my journey was I ate 7 pounds of meat almost consistently for 6.5 months.
Wow.
But everything healed. During that time, I gained 21 pounds, but I lost 2 shirt sizes.
I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And what happened? Because you have to remember, I was stuck in a recliner for almost 3 years. I would only get up once a day to go to the bathroom. And I mean, this is the part. I mean, these are the uncomfortable things that I don't really care about anymore. I tell them with ease, but I'd have to pee in a bucket in my living room in that recliner because I couldn't get to the bathroom because I couldn't stand for 90 seconds and I couldn't go without oxygen long enough. Yeah. So I'd only make it to the bathroom 1 time a day. And I had to build an environment around me that I could do carnivore with. So I ordered a table and a mini fridge, and I ordered a bunch of like air fryers and instant skillets that I could cook in because my environment had to be whatever I could reach from that chair.
Wow.
And I placed my recliner sideways next to the window so that I could order Instacart food and they can hand it to me through the window. I mean, that's how dire my situation was. And that's where I had to start, but I had to build an environment that I could start doing the things that would make a difference, But in that, who knew that a 700-pound guy was malnourished?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can be, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I did a video on that years ago. People who are grossly overweight are malnourished. And, but you couldn't convince the world of that for nothing. But you are. Go ahead.
Oh, 100%. Sorry. While we're talking, I'm starring all the question comments because here when we get done talking here in another 5 minutes, once I get all these questions or Q comments here, we'll go through a Q&A round for the viewers here. But yeah, 100%. And but look, malnourishment makes sense. Yeah. And so first of all, I want to make it clear that in my opinion, the calorie restricted model and and making everything, when you make everything about weight equals health, and weight is determined by calories. When you break it down to this simple model, it's, in my opinion, is purely because if you say that it's all that matters is the calorie, what you're also saying is the quality of the calorie doesn't matter about what food you're getting it in, which means that you can eat Snickers, you can eat McDonald's, you can eat pizza, you can eat all this stuff, and as long as you moderate it into this calorie window, then it's okay. That's the message. And then they spend $12 billion a year to engineer that food to be 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So they're telling you that
Yeah.
you can moderate the calorie, and the fact that they spent $12 billion a year to make it 8 times more addictive than cocaine doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you. And if it does, and you're not able to moderate it, you're broken, you're the problem, you're weak-willed, all this stuff. Okay, so that's
that
a
keeps
given.
them out of being sued too.
Gets them out of being sued. It gets the focus from looking at the big food companies and what they're doing to our food environment and how they're poisoning us. It takes the view off of them, and it puts all the blame on you. And then they go, but you're a victim of your genealogy and your heritage, and of you have these 3 diseases that are hereditary, so you're a victim. It's not your fault, but unfortunately you have no choice but to keep eating the drugs, take these drugs, and then just your quality of life will just dwindle away until you die, and we'll make money off you the entire time that you're doing it.
And they try to memory hole things, because if you go online and you look up 1960s anything, 1950s anything, and just look at crowd pictures, there's all over YouTube, folks. You can go look at videos of scenes in cities and stuff, and you won't find one fat person in 100. You might find one, but you won't hardly find them.
No.
When I was in school many years ago, there wasn't 1 or 2 fat people in any classroom.
I was just
now go to any classroom in America, and you'll find over half, maybe 60% of the kids are fat. Every one of them. And it's not these kids' fault. They're eating garbage. In fact, our schools are literally feeding them garbage at the lunch counter.
Yeah, 100%. When we were working in the Bakken oil field, we stayed in a little town in North Dakota called South Hart. And we rented an old farmhouse that was completely furnished. And this family that furnished it had some old black and white pictures of their family from 1919 and 1920.
Yeah.
And you would look at all of them, and what stood out was there wasn't a single sickly looking overweight
one.
Yeah. No, and they all looked actually fairly happy, for what was going on. They didn't, they had life in their eyes. They had a complexion, and there wasn't any heavy ones. And now the statistics are that 74% of our population is overweight or obese, and 84% is metabolically sick. And the number 3 killer in our country, cause of loss of life, is medical drugs. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
What,
so
number 3?
Yep. Number 3 is heart disease, cancer, and then drugs. So the number 1 treatment for illness is the 3rd leading cause of death in our country. Okay. And all you need to know is that system, the number 1 killer of cardiologists is heart disease. Okay. So why are we listening to these people? If the number 1 reason your mechanic couldn't get to work was because his car didn't run, would you go see him? No. And it's like, but it's all sleight of hand crap all the time. I'm listening to all this nonsense all the time that, oh no, they went to school, and the school that's built by the drug companies, the school that's funded by the drug companies. And all you need
Our
to know,
association that's funded by the big food and everything else.
Yeah. The same 12 companies that own all the pharmaceutical companies and all the medical companies are the same 12 companies that own all the food companies.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know. It's kind of funny. He's a rapper named Ice-T, but I love what he says. He goes, when the same person is selling the bullets and the Band-Aids, we have a problem. You know,
That's the truth too.
it's 100% the truth in what's
And
going
they own
on.
all the politicians too, Todd.
Oh, they
Both
do.
parties.
Yeah, yeah,
Republicans, Democrats, doesn't matter. They own every last one of them.
for sure. It's all false opposition, right? It's a show. It's a
Yeah, they
show for
get
control.
together and laugh at us behind the scenes.
Right.
That's the truth.
And 100%, and they all go to the same parties and do the same bull crap. But the fact of the matter is that knowing, like, I don't know what you believe, but if you guys are inclined to see things even close to what we do, that the politicians are bought and paid for, then
100.
then you have to ask yourself, is it in their interest for the free public and their the people that vote them in and delegate our power to them, is it in their best interest to make us sick and weak and tired and distracted just trying to hold on to life and symptom relief, or is
Yeah.
it in their, yeah, I mean, of course they want us that way because it makes us subservient, it makes us weak, it makes us not pay attention. If we can't even think past our own illness and our own being tired and all the inflammation and the diseases we deal with, they want us that way because it's giant distraction so that they can just go about their way, getting away with all the crap, and our minds don't work right because we're brain fog and tired all the time and overwhelmed with our health and life. And we're just trying to get past symptoms.
This is
There's,
old, Todd. This is old. The Romans, bread and circuses. You
yep,
know, divide and conquer. That's the oldest political trick in the book, and they use it well. And they keep us all fighting each other. Because my neighbor's he's some party that I don't agree with. Let's fight about something,
right,
something that we can't do anything about.
yeah,
Let's hate each other. Let's go protest each other while they're robbing us blind, killing us, starting war after war after war, causing racial division when most people just want to love their neighbor and don't even see race, except the only thing they would have anything against someone's race is if they were a hateful person. Their color has nothing to do with anything, and they just keep us divided so they
right,
can conquer us.
right. Divide and conquer and create these groups so that we'll infight and
Yeah,
then point
yeah.
us at each other. I know it's so stupid, but this is why I don't watch the news. I don't care.
I don't either. I try
Yeah,
not to.
yeah, I'm not listening to any of that crap. I don't get engaged in all the nonsense online and all the people anymore. I just am like, yeah, your situation hasn't got bad enough that you woke up yet.
No.
And someday you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to face your demons and you're gonna see through some of this nonsense. I
Yeah.
just don't care because at the end of the day, God's in charge. And I don't like, I love that I get to wake up every morning and go, I'm glad I'm not in charge of this crap show. You know?
But we should. I mean, those of us that are believers, we should pray for our government and for peace in the world. We really should, man. And hopefully, it seems like some things are the tide's turning a little bit. We'll see what the result is after a few years. On the food front is what I'm talking about. Not
Yeah,
anything else. I'm just talking about the food front.
100%. Well, I think I got some questions.
All right.
Let me see here. Let me go through this real quick. All right. I think I got some questions. Sorry, me and Bob got chatty, and so some of these might be a little bit old, but now we're going to go answer your guys' questions. So if you have any questions, please put three Qs in front of it and pop it into the chat, and I'll pull it up here and put it on the screen just like so. And it says, is it true that long-term carnivores develop insulin resistance and need to bring back some carbs? You want to take a shot at this, or you want me to go at it, Bob?
You can go ahead, but I'll tell you, after I was on the diet for many years before I ever gained any weight back, I really didn't add it back any carbs. I did add back potatoes. Now this is years ago when I was at normal weight, and for years after I left the channel, I did, and they didn't seem to hurt me. But I never added back a lot of other stuff, and I think that's one reason why I didn't get totally unhealthy even after I gained the weight back. I never added back the
Actually, what
kind of stuff.
I think you may have misunderstood the question.
Yeah, yeah.
She's actually wondering if carnivore causes insulin resistance,
No,
requiring
I
you
don't
to
think so.
add back carbs. No, that's been a little nonsense thing. So here's
Sorry.
first of
Sorry.
all, oh, no worries at all. First of all, how did our species persist if that was possible? And second of all, we already know that the standard American diet and carbs cause insulin resistance.
100%.
So what do we have to lose? Like, like exactly. I don't know. I think about this all the time. People ask me things like, should I get a CGM? I got a, what do they call that? A genetic modulation test, and it shows that a bunch of my cells are made out of omega 6s instead of omega 3s. They go through all these things and they have all these matrices because there's a system out there that wants to sell us tests, and they want to sell us scales and devices and things that monitor us and count the stuff, because in turn they're going to create a product and a whole industry off of selling you that thing, because they created a number that's, in my opinion, kind of stupid. Like, even if, yes, even if there's a correlation that when you're sick or you're fighting a certain problem, you're going to see this number's higher. Great. Okay, great. There might be a correlation there. But then they're going to sell you something that, so you can keep an eye on that number. And the problem we see with that is then people fixate on that number. And the answer is, I don't care what the number has been. I have had my stroke heal, my congestive heart failure heal. I've had insulin. My A1C is 4.8 right now. I
Wow.
mean, it's nuts how low my A1C's gotten.
That's great.
All these things. So I don't care what the number is and what the symptom is. I think carnivore, and specifically lion, is your greatest chance at healing it. So whatever it is, what are they going to offer you? What have they offered you to date? What are they offering all the citizens to date that's making it better? Right. And so if whatever fear mongering nonsense about insulin resistance on long-term carnivore is out there, let me ask you, is the risk of you eating carbs and going back to the standard American diet because you go off the rails, is that more damaging than risking eating meat and fat and staying on it long term? I will take this risk any day, because we already know in mass quantities what that does to diabetes, type 2 diabetes, weight gain, metabolic disease, and all sorts of diseases. We already know where that leads. And what I find, for me, if I mess around with carbs, I can't moderate them, and I'll be back to pizza and crazy things. So I think if you were to take a calculated risk, even if there was some truth to it, which I don't believe there is, or our species wouldn't be here, because if we would have been getting type 2 diabetes from an insulin resistance from eating meat during, I don't know, the ice age, we wouldn't be here, because they didn't have insulin back then. You know what I mean?
Todd, I
So
got something to add to this now that I understand the question and I'm a
yeah,
little more with it.
yeah,
I took a Kraft insulin pattern test probably in the fourth year after I started my diet back in before I left the channel, and I had healed my insulin resistance. I mean, by that pattern. Uh, it's I think there's still only one company that does that, but it's from Dr. Joseph Kraft, where he had patterns of how insulin would react, and there's like four different patterns of people that did it. But anyway, you had to take a test where you test your insulin and test your blood, and they do the insulin over, I think it was 4 or 5 hours. So I had healed that. Number two, people who are insulin resistant have a big belly. I mean, they're going to have some kind of belly fat. So if you see somebody that's been carnivore for like 10 years and their belly is not big, they probably don't have insulin resistance. I'm sorry to tell you that. But it's just one sign. Is there exceptions to the rule? I'm sure there is. But for the vast majority of people, insulin resistance will show in the belly.
one.
Or they'll be visceral fat. There are people who stay skinny all the time, but they're fat inside in a very unhealthy way. And I mean, that's a well-known thing. So you'll see somebody that's very thin end up with fatty liver and all kinds of diseases where they don't fatten because they just have that genetic exception to the rule. There's always an exception, folks. So
100%.
that's what I want to say about that.
Nope. I love that. All right. We'll go on to the next question. And you guys better get your questions in there. We only have about 8 questions so far, and you guys are slacking on us. So get chatty. Let's see. It says, "Hi guys, is it okay to include kielbasa sausage on the carnivore diet?" So you want to hit this, Bob, and then I'll run at it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with any kind of sausage or like any kind of things that have a lot of spices and stuff in it. It always increases my hunger whenever I eat it. Now, it may not do that for everybody because everybody's different, but that's one thing that I can't do, you know. And like years ago, we allowed stevia on the diet. They don't, you know, with carnivore, you don't. I could never touch it. You know, I could never get around it. It would just blow me up. I couldn't stand it. So we're all different. So if it doesn't bother you, and you feel good on it and your appetite stays under control, maybe you could try it. But you need to stay away from spices on carnivore, I think. I'll let you finish that.
I agree wholeheartedly. Here's what I think, honestly. If I was to do this all over again and what I see with people, I would slowly titrate off with one little bit of carbohydrates, let it be maybe a little bit of cheese or a little bit of honey for like a week. But then I would try to get to the lion diet as quick as possible, in my opinion. And if you can do it, and the reason why is you don't have to do it for forever. Maybe you only do it for a week. Maybe you do it. I really would love to see everybody do it for 90 days because I think that the power of carnivore is that it's an elimination diet. And the truth is, I don't think that any of us really know what these things are doing to us until we eliminate them, until we let the body rest without being like, you could be eating things right now that you are having a reaction to and you don't even know it. And you've been doing it for so long that your immune system stops even fighting it and it wreaks havoc in there. But the best way to find out is to do lion diet, which is just salt, water, and ruminant animal. And we can all do hard things. And the beauty of that is you don't have to restrict anything. So every time you get a hunger, every time you're struggling, every time you feel like something's coming in and it's driving you a little crazy, go eat red meat until you're absolutely stuffed to the gills because that'll do something for you. It'll hit the stretch receptors on your stomach and it'll shut down the food noise for a while. Yeah. And then you're going to finally be at the lowest inflammation diet you can. And so do that as long as you can. I highly recommend that you go into a group to do that because you're going to need daily check-ins and a little bit of help troubleshooting through things. And you're going to be low on energy when your glucose stores in your liver and your muscle runs out. And you're going to have some fatigue for a little while. But what you're going to get is a lot of healing. And then after that, if you so choose, you can add one thing in like every 3 days and see what it does to you. So you could eat that kielbasa and you'll know right away if you get a hunger spike or what usually is going to happen from all those spices. You're going to get inflammation. You're going to get a mucus response and you're going to get congestion. You're going to notice that maybe your joints start hurting again. And you're going to say, all right, my body doesn't like that. There's something in there that's not good for me. So I'm not doing that. And you can go down the list. You can add eggs back in and you go, for some people, they go, eggs are fine. Then that's on your list for forever and you eat them all you want. People, I'm one of these people, add it back in. Egg whites are a problem for me. Egg whites inflame me. And all these things you have.
I can't eat it.
Yeah.
I cannot have any cheese in my diet when I'm trying to get healthy again.
No,
because it's so addictive. I could eat a pound of cheddar cheese. Oh. You know, I mean, I just could.
for sure. And cheese is one of those things like it's not an accident. Well, we have to understand. My friend Charlie always says that, a cheese is, dairy is built to take little steers and little calves and turn them into 400-pound steers. And what dairy does is it has queso and casomorphine in it. And when you eat it, it opens up your appetite, makes you ravenous because it's trying to open up your appetite to keep, And so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Yeah. But we're not, in my opinion, we're not supposed to stay on that. There's some people that can tolerate it a lot better, but there's some people that just can't. And if you are somebody that's trying to lose weight, or if you have an autoimmune condition, it's almost unanimously across the board not a good idea.
No, no, it's
But
not.
but
Yep.
you'll know for sure, because if you do lion diet for at least a week, but if you could get it for 90 days, it'll break all those addictions. You'll know the difference when your body's wanting dopamine versus when it has real hunger. Like my litmus test for my body wanting dopamine is if I feel really hungry, but it seems a little strange. And then I think about going and eating my steak. If that doesn't sound appetizing, my body's not looking for nutrients. It wants a dopamine fix, and it's time to either pray, go for a walk, do some work, write down a to-do list, do a little meditating, do anything else to give your body the same dopamine fix. Because our bodies are supposed to get dopamine too. It's just that we're supposed to get them through beneficial avenues and not through, you know, recreational drugs, which is what our foods become. So that'll start to really calibrate your system so that you know whether your body wants actual building blocks and nutrients, or if maybe you've been sedentary a little too long, or maybe your mind's bored, and and then those are other parts of things outside of carnivore that you need to add in there to deal with those. But at least you'll start, and you can use that to your advantage, because when you realize that you need dopamine, I'll give you an example. When I was doing this, I was freaking out because my body wanted dopamine so bad because I was such an addictive personality. And so my body was telling me I had to have it. Like, I mean, it felt like the worst anxiety attack on the planet.
Wow.
And if I, and like, it had me like losing, it was so bad that I used to have to, when I was outside the anxiety attack, I would have to write in a journal to myself that I knew I was going to be when I had my next anxiety attack, so I could talk to myself and talk myself through the anxiety attack. So I'd go back through it and read it and see the words, and see, I tell myself, like, I know this seems like it's more real than anything that you remember, because I was like, my brain was telling me, oh, this is, you're just lying to yourself, you're never going to stick to this is pointless, just all this stuff. But anyways, so what I ended up doing was, the first couple of times, and this is more on keto, but the first couple of times that I had lost the battle and I ended up ordering Instacart and getting fast food or something, I finally made a plan, and I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. If I have this anxiety attack, I'm going to allow myself to order whatever I want. But there's one rule, and that rule is, before I can do it, I have to make uh like a pound of bacon and like 12 eggs. And I have to eat that until I'm absolutely stuffed and wait 1 hour. And then if after that I want that junk food again, then I can have it to use this thing. So anyhow, long story short, I did that consistently, and I picked bacon and eggs because it's fatty, it's cheap, and it's easy, it's quick to make. You can make it in a hurry.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and on like day 3 or 4, I woke up one morning, and my brain, I was having an anxiety attack, and my brain said, I need bacon and eggs. And then it even shocked me, and I went, wait, what? Did I just say, am I craving bacon and eggs? And so what I didn't realize until like a year later, and this made so much sense to me. Kelly Hogan had an expert on talking about anticipatory dopamine reactions and dope or addiction transfer. So I got to thinking about this, and this is so true. Most of the dopamine that we get is in the process of getting what we want, not actually in the action.
Oh yeah.
And so I used to, like, I was thinking when I was at work, I would be sitting there and having anxiety at work and bored. And I would be thinking about the terrible meal I was going to have that night. And I would be depressed and full of anxiety, but I'd be thinking about it. But as soon as it was time to get off work and I got in my car to go get it, I immediately felt better when I was driving to go get it. I hadn't eaten it yet. I hadn't picked it up, but all of a sudden I was getting a dopamine hit, and that's called an anticipatory dopamine hit. So by placing the bacon and eggs between me and the fast food, the process of getting the bacon and eggs while tricking my brain into think that that was the path to get the pizza and the soda, I had created a dopamine addiction transfer to bacon and eggs.
Pavlov's dog. Classic conditioning. You were
Exactly.
ringing the bell of bacon and eggs and anticipating the slop.
Exactly.
So the bell itself gave you the same pleasure that the ice cream sandwiches and Snickers bars did.
100%. And so do with that what you will,
No,
but
it's classic conditioning. Yeah.
yeah, it works.
Yeah.
And
It
you
works.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, you can use those things. So what I started realizing after that point is that if you have an addictive personality, that can be a curse, but it can also be a huge strength if you realize how to weaponize it and you start doing that. So I started adding, right now I do strength training 3 times a week, and I transferred my dopamine hit to strength training. And now, for the first time in my life, because I'm stronger, I'm healed, and I got my energy back. But now I am literally as addicted to working out at the gym, which I
Good
can't
addiction.
exactly. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how nuts that is, by the way. But like I never thought that I would be that guy. But I get that dopamine hit and it lasts like 2 days. Every time I do a hard workout and I tear down the muscles, I love that feeling. And I'm just on a high for like 2 days. It's crazy. And I would have never thought I'd be that guy, but we can transfer those dopamine hits to good addictions. All right.
Smart.
Here's the next one. Were you carnivore first or Christian? Oh, I was definitely Christian first. How about you, Bob?
Carnivore first. I've always believed in God my whole life, but I mean, for those of you who are Christian, there was a time in my life when I knew Jesus was alive, but he was not my Lord, my King, and my Savior. And he is now. So I was carnivore before carnivore was cool, by the way. I'm old
Right.
school, but yeah, I was that first. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah,
I've always enjoyed, and I know Jerry there. I've seen her. She's been on my show before. But yeah, I've always believed in God. I've always been interested in the Bible. I've always, prayed. I've always been interested in all that kind of stuff. I know the Bible better than 99% of people that's out there. I'm not better than everybody, but a lot of people. But there came a time when I became a Christian where he's my Lord, not just somebody that I believe in.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've known God my whole life, but oddly enough, there was a serious ego when it came to my health that I always felt like, no, I can take care of this myself. I can work out hard enough. I can diet hard enough. I can do this. And it was one of the things that I just never laid down. And when I laid it down, that's when it all got healed and got fixed. It's crazy. All right. Let's see. Has anyone seen success with stem cell treatment and nerve regeneration? Someone I know is struggling to walk.
I don't have it. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I want to say. You know what? Can you email me at thecarnivorecure@gmail.com because there's something I want to talk about that I'm not ready to talk about on here. And I'm certainly not recommending it, but it's something worth researching for you. But as far as stem cells, yes, my brother was fighting really bad nerve problems and he had stem cells here and they definitely helped a lot. Now, I heard this is changing, but I think so. I think you got to go to Panama to get stem cells, one thing, because in the United States, it's only legal to put it into tissue, but in Panama, they can put it in the blood. So it'll go everywhere and it will find it'll find the inflamed tissue that needs to be healed, number one. And also, there are certain markers on the stem cells. They use embryonic, so they just use the umbilical cord stem cells. And also, you know what else I think they are also doing now is, which I'm not sure how I feel about this, by the way, but they are taking your own stem cells out of your body and they're multiplying them somehow. If I found out they're being cloned, I don't think I would be so keen on it. But if they're I don't know if they're splitting them somehow. You might look into that. But at the very least, the embryo stem cells that they take from umbilical cords, and they're sensitive to not taking it from other baby parts, if you know what I mean. But so they don't do that because they understand that. So anyhow, they take them and they identify a certain protein marker in them that have a way higher success at being accepted and being utilized by your body. And if you watch like Joe Rogan and stuff, that's been like crazy successful for people. But there is another thing. And if you email me, I would give you some information on it. So, all right.
Didn't Mel Gibson talk about something
Yeah.
down that he
100.
gave with his friends? Yeah.
Yeah, that exact thing. He said his
Yeah.
dad was he said his dad was like 96 years old and they were
Yeah.
telling him he was about gone. And then he basically came out of there and started driving an RV around or something again.
It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
crazy. But I believe him. I totally believe him.
Well, 100%. And this is why I have 5 skin surgeries coming up. So one of the things I'm purchasing is a 2 atmosphere hyperbaric oxygen chamber.
Wow.
And the reason why I'm purchasing that is because when you do hyperbaric oxygen, the oxygen therapy for 6 months, every day for 6 months, is when it starts kicking in. But here's what's cool. So when you get under 2 atmosphere under in a 2 atmosphere pressure and it pumps in 100% oxygen, that pressure not only makes your blood cells carry oxygen, it makes the plasma in the blood carry oxygen.
Oh, wow.
Which causes you to grow capillaries and basically new capillaries that oxygenate the tissue better. But
That's cool.
it's super cool. But the other super cool thing that happens is when you get out of that pressure, it is such a shock that it is a hormetic stressor, and it causes your body to release a 400% increase in stem cells in your body and a 600% increase in growth hormones.
What?
Yep. And so every time you get out and you lose pressure so quickly, it goes through what's called the hormetic stressor. So that's why they do like sauna therapy and that's why they do cold plunge therapy. Those are called hormetic stressors, where your body goes through something traumatic. And so it has a response to strengthen your body and it releases stem
That's
cells
cool.
and growth. Yeah, it is. And so that's why right now, right out this door, I'm building, I have a garage out here, but it didn't have garage doors on it. So anyhow, we're finishing the inside of it, and I'm going to have a cold plunge, a red light, a red light infrared sauna, a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, and a red light UV tanning bed. And I'm doing all 4 of those hormetic stressors and therapies for the purpose of getting my immune system and stem cells and heal my lymphatic system so that when I have these surgeries, that I'm going to heal up really well and that I'm going to try to repair the damage that was done to my lymphatic system through all this. And I'm going to let you, and you guys are going to follow me through this whole thing. I'm going to make videos on everything, on all the different therapies that I'm doing. That's why right now I've been to at least 12 doctor's appointments in the last 8 weeks. And I'm getting everything checked right now before I start so that I have a baseline. And then I'm going to show you guys exactly what this stuff does and some other stuff I'm going to talk about in 6 months and give you the real results on it, because some of it's been amazing. Because I want to see, they told me congestive heart failure couldn't be healed. They told me that lymph impacted tissue couldn't heal. They tell us all this stupid crap, and then we eat meat and it heals. So I want to see how far we can push this. And someday, maybe in the next stream, I want to talk about why I think that works. Because before the flood, we had a higher atmosphere pressure, we had more oxygen, and we had more red light. And it's odd that we're finding that all those things are healing people now. So I have a theory on that, but I'm testing that theory in real time in my garage. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I want to see what it does.
It's interesting. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The gentleman's stories of Todd and Bill. Yeah, and Bill Knott speak. Yep, for sure. Bill Knott's an awesome dude, and he's doing fantastic. And I'm so glad to see he's had so much healing. So it's going to be really fun to see him cross the finish line too. All right. Butter Bob, will you ever do Bill Knott interview one-on-one on a live too? Well,
I never heard of him until tonight, but I'll look him up. Yeah.
well, and I can give you an inside scoop. Bill doesn't really do interviews. That's why you've never seen him on any of these. Because when I talked to him, I told him, Bill, I know you don't want to do interviews on anybody's channel, so you have my word. I will never ask you. You know, and so
that's understandable. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I wish him luck. I wish him all the blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't been keeping, I've been so busy, I've been keeping track. So maybe something's changed in the last 6 months and maybe he's going on, but that was the last I heard that he doesn't want to do interviews. So, all right. How much horse dewormer? It never takes long to get here. How much horse dewormer did you take milligrams and for how long? Thanks. I took it for 14 days and I don't remember the milligrams, but here's what I remember. If you look on the back of the package, it tells you if your horse is 1,600 pounds or 800 pounds or whatever. So I dosed it just like that. At that time, I knew I was somewhere around 700 pounds, and that was about half the tube. So I took half the tube for a dose, and then I'd take the other half the next day. Little side note, it's very bitter, but the apple pie flavored one tastes the best if anybody's wondering. You can call me crazy, but I made it out of it alive. So
no, I know so many people who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they figured out where they could get it.
Exactly. They were running out. My sister was having to go out every day and look at 5 different stores to try to get it, you know?
You know that it's over the counter here in Tennessee.
That's awesome. That
you
means
can go to any pharmacy. You have to give your name and address and stuff, but you don't have
Yeah.
to have a doctor. You can get it at any pharmacy over the counter.
That's absolutely
in the state of Tennessee. That may be news to people who are in Tennessee, but it's true. And we're not the only state either.
for sure.
Yeah.
Do either of you
farmers have known about this for a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just their little secret. And they were taking it too. It was just their little secret. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Do either of you limit your fat consumption? I'll let you go first, Bob.
I really don't, because if you eat real food, the fat percentages are already in the 60s and 70s. If I do happen to have a very lean piece of meat, for some reason I just has something that's very lean, I'll add butter to it. I've learned something that I didn't used to do. I was melt butter on it, but now I do it cold. Like this is something new. This is something that wasn't around years ago, and I tolerate it much better. And it doesn't take much, folks. It only takes just a little bit of butter to take a very lean piece of meat, weigh high percentage. But mostly, like if I eat chicken, I eat thighs. I eat the fatty parts, and I try to eat ribeyes. I try to eat hamburger meat. So no, I don't limit my fat consumption at all. Look, fat is humanity's food. That's what we're supposed to eat. It's what our body's designed to process. There's like 4 different organs, 4 different processes that we literally have ingrained in our body to deal with fat. So fat is not an unusual food for human beings. In fact, your brain's mostly fat. Every part of your nervous system listen, folks, don't be afraid of the fat. Every mammal on the earth that I know of lives on a high fat diet, regardless of what they eat. The cow eating grass lives on a high fat diet. I have a video about it, but called Let's Do It. But the person that could give you a lot better would be Dr. Anthony Chaffee. He has a lot on this. Folks, I'm sorry. Don't be afraid of the fat. the fat. Love the fat.
No, not at all. Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of elaborate on one thing that you said. A ribeye is 70% fat and 30% protein. Your brain is 70% cholesterol and 30% protein.
Yeah.
I don't think that's by accident, number one.
No, no.
Number two, our endocrine system that is so important for our, hunger and satiation hormones and our testosterone, our sex hormones and our mood hormones and dopamine and everything relies solely on fat, or at least not solely, but like very extensively on fat. And so people with hormonal issues, fat is the number one thing that heals it. And so I don't limit anything. I listen to my body, and this is what the priming phase of my life and healing phase did for me. And what having such a restricted, tuned down diet did for me is I can decipher those signals super strong now. So basically, now, if my body's craving fat, I eat fat. And if I'm fighting any kind of healing, any kind of inflammation, because we go, as you go through carnivore, your body's going to detox and go through periods of healing. And when that's happening, that's a good time to be purposeful about upping your fat because it's super important for inflammation and healing. And other than that, I just listen to my hunger signals. And right now, oddly enough, I happen to be in a very lean season where my body wants more protein,
Yeah.
probably because I'm lifting so much heavier that it's prioritizing protein, and I become way more fat adapt, which means my body has more efficient adaptation metabolic pathways to getting to stored body fat, and I have plenty. And I did enough healing and I did enough priming. Right now, I'm in a season where my body, like it kind of shamed myself the last 2 days. I've been trimming the fat off of my New York strip steaks because I don't have a taste for it right now. But just like I trust my body when it wants the fat, I also trust my body when it doesn't want the fat, and it serves me very well. So, yes, I do not restrict on purpose by any means. All right. Let's see here. Oh, perfect. You found some, Bob. I was like, I was going through there, or maybe
What?
some more questions. I think Lindy's in here for me or something. Hey, Lindy, thank you. Where can we find Butter Bob? You want to, let's see. Can I pop that up there? How do I
Yeah.
do that?
My channel is Butter Bob Riggs on YouTube. Yeah. That's pretty easy. You don't
Yeah,
have to type in all the elemental PQRS that a lot of stations have. But I'm sure they've changed that. But used to, you had to do all that. But it's just Butter Bob Briggs.
that's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Next question. Is there a network of carnivore doctors, experts we can go to rather than usual doctors? For example, blood work, x-rays, etc. I'd ask because I dropped my health insurance because I believe it's a scam. I know that Rivero has a network like that, which is Sean Baker's group. Rivero has a network. And I think on that network, you can go to, I think it's Rivero.com. I think they might have changed the name, but I think it is still Rivero. And if you go to there, they will align you specifically with a carnivore doctor that services your area. Do you know any other ones, Bob?
Years ago, I thought maybe that there was a lot of doctors associated with the low carb conference that they used to do in Denver, and I'm trying to think of the Jeffrey Gerber. I thought there was a network back then, but I've lost track of it now. There are doctors and networks that are associated with these things that could help someone with this. There used to be a list, is what I'm trying to say, and it was through low carb. They put on conferences every year, low carb Denver or low carb something.
Oh, I think, yeah, I think it's called Hack Your Health now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, they used to have a list of doctors, and I'm friends with some of them on Twitter, but they yeah, there's quite a few that's. I mean, you just have to look around, guys. I mean, it may not in your local area, and then there may be someone that's kind of secretly in your area that's carnivore.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, and also if you make if you happen to be in area that has carnivore meetups, that's a good resource too, because usually there's a lot of people that are seeing doctors, and whether they're not on a network or not, they'll tell you, yeah, my doctor actually like, I just found a lymphatic surgeon or therapist that happens to be keto at least, and so she believes in this stuff, which is, it makes it easier. So
Yeah.
if you start little community groups, start a little Facebook local page, you'll be surprised that you'll make some friends. Sometimes it's hard if you're in a rural area, but sometimes it's handy, and you can find people that happen to have a carnivore or keto friendly doctor. All right. How is Michael doing? Michael is ghosting me, to be honest with you. So I'm sad to say I haven't heard from him in a while, but I hope he's doing okay. And I figure when he goes through back troubles and cellulitis issues, he's told me more than once. He goes, I'm like an old dog, and when I'm hurting and have healing to do, I go sit in the corner for a while and don't talk to anybody. So I think he's going through one of those phases right now, but he's in my prayers, and so I'm hoping he's going to contact me again soon. So yeah, Michael's a co-host that me and Lindy, Limitless Lindy, used to do a Sunday night live stream for a couple of years, and he's a good guy, but he's got some health issues.
Plus, it's harder than people think to be in the public eye. It really is. It wears on you after a while. But that's why I'm trying to do this a little more community oriented now, so I don't feel so alone. And it's very difficult. If many of you that don't have channels, you don't understand. It's a big thing to put yourself out there and subject yourself to criticism or whatever. But it's worth it. But it does take a toll on you sometimes. You may need to take a month break or so. I think you did just recently, didn't you, Todd?
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
not because you were upset, but you needed a break.
No, well, I'm very compulsive person, and so I'm like, I don't have any healthy moderation habits across anything. So I'm all in or I'm all out, right?
Yeah.
And I had too many things that I was all in on. And so it started to be where I was doing a bad job at everything, you know? And so I had to have a wake up call, and I just had to have come to Jesus moment and go, all right, you need to take a break from something. Something's got to give. Your bandwidth's too high. I mean, I was working 18 to 19 hours a day, and I could not. Wasn't getting sleep. That was causing health problems. It was causing my lymphedema to flare up. And so I just was like, all right, I'm not doing anybody any favors by doing a bad job and coming on here and driveling on without my mental faculty in order. So I stepped back and I just took 3 months off, maybe four. It's hard to remember. But I caught up on things that I was getting behind on, and I put some priorities in place. And
That's good. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. But I know that like this, like I love this, and actually, when people come on here and dog me, there's so many people that see my old videos and they make comments on it today, and they're like, "This is never gonna last. You have so much weight to lose," and I'm like, "I got bad news for you. That was a year and a half ago video, and I'm 120 pounds lighter, and I'm still doing it." And so the people that like, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any clout at all, but there's one moron on here that's got a pretty big channel that yells at everybody, that likes to tell me and Limitless Lindy that we're in Stall City and we're never going to do it. And I love that. I eat that up because it's just like, I can't wait you know until you just keep watching. And this is what I tell everybody, because I get hundreds and hundreds of comments now that tell me you shouldn't be giving diet advice. You still have 100 pounds to lose. And I'm like, stay tuned. I'm putting my whole life on the internet here. I got,
Right.
shirtless pictures of my man boobs all over online, and I could give a dang less. And so take your best shot, because it's going to feel so much better here in another 2 years when I'm right where I want to be. And you go ahead, because you're going to be disappointed. You're going to look stupid, and here in another 2 years. And I just don't care. So I just feed off of that. It just drives me. It's the things that I love at the gym. I love a good fight. I don't know. I love a good fight. So it's like, yeah, just watch.
Yeah. I mean, It just depends on why. I mean, some people are here on the internet to uh, not to do the things that I'm here for, and not
Yeah.
the things you're here for.
No.
You know, so I don't care. That's why I showed my fat belly the other day. I just
Yeah.
took all the wind out of the people's sail. Yeah, I'm fat. I got fat again. Whoop de doo. I'll get better. You know. So
Well, 100%.
you know,
You know,
but why hide it? Why pretend like
oh,
it's not true? You can't hide it anyway. But you know,
yeah, I told a buddy of mine, I said, next time that me and Anthony Chafee, Anthony Chafee did like a viral video. You know who Anthony Chafee
oh
is.
yeah, yeah.
He's ripped and he's,
I know, I know. The,
so
the guy looked like a Greek god.
exactly. And he's jacked, right?
Yeah,
And I'm a saggy mess right now, right? And so I was like, he had this video where he was cutting up a primal roast without a shirt on, and of course, it got a
I'm saying
gazillion
it.
views.
Yeah, I'm saying it.
Yeah. So the next time we get together, I want to see if he'll make a video with me, and we'll both take our shirts off and cut up one of those primals. And I want to go in there and and I want to say like, are you sure this is going to get me subscribers? And he'll be like, oh yeah, And then I want to go in there, start cutting up, and look at my phone and go, it's not working. Maybe it's just an algorithm problem. I'm not getting any subscribers, So I just want to play with it because I just do not give a crap anymore. And going back to it, it's because I don't care. I don't let this body define me anymore. This has nothing to do with who I really am or what my trajectory is or where I'm going to go. I've seen God do so many amazing things. I don't know what he's going to do with this body, but I always joke and I'm like, I'm not trying to be a Hanes underwear model tomorrow. I don't really care. What I'm trying to do is get as strong and as heal as many things as I can get. And I'll tell you what, 74% of the planet is obese or overweight. And so everybody knows what a fat person looks like. Most of them are looking at the same.
100%. They are them.
Yeah. So it's like, why are we hiding the reality of who we are? And I think it's a good thing to go, like I am not about body positivity. I hate that whole movement about you're healthy at any size. No. We are supposed to be a certain way. This body is out of alignment with what God designed. And so that's perfectly reasonable to have an imbalance in alignment between who we were meant to be and who we are right now.
100%.
That's fine.
That's the struggle. I mean, that's the struggle.
Exactly. That is the struggle. And that's why so many people have imposter syndrome and stuff.
Sometimes we need to be humbled a little bit.
We need to be humbled. We
Yeah.
need
If we don't humble ourselves, we need to be humbled.
Exactly. And I got humbled in a huge, huge way. And that was what all that was about. And I agree with that. But don't think that like it's okay to not be happy and to expect more out of your physical situation where you are right now.
100%. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you have to live in shame and beat yourself up about it. You got to forgive yourself.
No.
You got to let that go. But you just have to go, I'm glad that Jesus came and died for this body. He came and died for this spirit. And he said, by his stripes, this is healed. And so when I work on this side and I say, I don't have to work on that, I have to be diligent and be a good steward with what he's given me. And he gave me a second chance. He gave me the knowledge of how to do carnivore. He gave me the strength to do it. He gave me the energy and the encouragement to do it. So I stick to this. I also just out of pure curiosity want to do all the hyperbaric oxygen stuff. But at the end of the day, if something still broke, just like my back in that bed the other day when the hand of God came down and healed it, he's going to heal whatever else. Like I'm going to take this as far as I can in stewardship, and then the rest is his. Like you do it, And so I don't care. I worry about nothing because I know that it's getting there, and that's
all you can do.
100%. Let's
trust
see.
Him. But the people who want to put people in shame, they have an issue that they need to work out. They have an issue. Used to, they would infuriate me. Now it's like, dude, you've got a big issue. You got an issue that you need to deal with, and you will deal with it whether you like it or not.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you take or recommend any supplements? I want to go first, Bob.
The only I take. Sometimes I take a vitamin C, and I do take some magnesium and potassium. Take it on a regular, but very low dose, because I've always had a little trouble with my legs. for many years, with cramping and stuff. So I take that to prevent any cramping. And so I don't do it in mega doses like some people do, but I do take a little. And so I never have any leg issues or cramping issues. That's about the reason I do it. And plus, I've read that most people are magnesium deficient. I could be wrong about that. Um, in the winter, and this will get me in trouble, but in the winter, I tend to be a little bit depressed in the winter. I get that seasonal thing. So I do take some vitamin D and vitamin C during the winter and I try to get into some kind of pretty good light because I do have a tendency to get depressed in the winter because I'm an outdoor kind of guy. I like to be outside, but I don't like the cold because I'm getting old. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So my main supplement that I take is God's multivitamin, which is raw beef liver. That's the number one most important thing.
Yeah, we need to talk about that sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll next time we're on, I'll bring those pictures I sent you of how I
Yeah.
prepare that. But raw beef liver is multivitamin number one, and it's amazing. And don't worry, I hate the way liver tastes too, but we have a trick. You chop it up in little tiny pieces, you freeze it in the freezer, and you swallow them like pills. And you only need 1 to 2 ounces a week. So it's very little a day, and it'll make all the difference in the world. But yeah, that aside, I do take vitamin D3 because I live in Montana and we don't get a lot of sun here. So we
Yeah.
have long winters, and but I didn't just start taking it because I thought I needed it. My blood test showed that I needed it, and then I
Yeah.
was real low on it. So I take vitamin D3, and then I take Lugol's iodine because same reason, I'm not anywhere by the ocean, and I had a serious iodine deficiency, and that's been just life changing. So I take Lugol's iodine. If you want to know about iodine, go watch the Ken Berry and Dr. Brownstein video on iodine. It's amazing.
I'm
It's
gonna
the
write
best.
that down. Kim Berry
Yeah.
and what?
Ken Berry and Dr. Brownstein.
Brownstein.
Yeah, that video will tell you everything you know. That was a video I watched, started taking it, and it turned everything around. And then other than that, I take 15 grams of creatine monohydrate because I watched the videos on it and I thought, I heard so many positive things about it that I'm like, all right, I'm just going to try it. And sure enough, it is powerful. And what it does, so many bodybuilders take creatine 5 grams a day because it regenerates muscle and promotes muscle healing and keeps water in the muscle and gets rid of the whatever acid buildup or whatever is in there. I don't know. I don't take it for that. I take 15 grams because after you take 5 grams, the first 5 grams go to muscle, but the next 10 grams gets in your blood and it passes through the blood-brain barrier, and it has an awesome neurotropic effect. It can actually negate a 23-hour sleep deficit, and it just turns my brain on like a light bulb. So
Wow.
it's basically my coffee now, and it's right here because I keep
Wow.
it right next to my desk. I just use the GNC brand. It's creatine monohydrate. And when I take every morning, I take this 15 grams of this and I put my iodine in it and I shake it up real quick, and it tastes terrible. And I drink it in one shot. And
Ugh.
within 10 to 15 seconds, it'll turn your mind on like a light bulb, and you are wide awake. Like you can be dragging out of bed and take 15. For me, some people, a lot of people have huge neurotropic effect from it. Some of it's real instant. Some of it takes a little bit longer and they have to take it. I will say this, I was taking it at 5 milligrams or 5 grams a day. It's grams, not milligrams. 5 grams a day. And so I think I got saturated in it before I started taking it. So some people, they take 15 grams of it, don't get that right away, and they have to saturate their body with it. I think I might have been pre-saturated because I was playing with it at first. And then I think I'd already kind of filled that deficit. And that's why it hit me so quick when I took the 15. But it is powerful. And it like, I can be peeling myself off the sheets in the morning tired. And I stumble over here and I get my creatine and my iodine. And then it's like, I am wide awake. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Well, maybe I need that.
Try it. Seriously, try it.
Yeah, it's getting better since I've been doing what you said, but I've been a little bit low energy for about a week now. So, and that's very unlike me. I usually jump out of bed, I'm wide awake, I'm ready to go. and I'm an early riser, early riser.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've been dragging myself out of bed for about a week now. But I mean, I still get awake, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I would definitely try that creatine. I'd love to just see what you think of it
yeah,
because like I am such a skeptic about any like I've had so many supplements and I think they're all crap. 99% of them are crap and they don't do a dang thing. And so I'm like almost an evangelist for creatine now.
yeah.
Oh, in fact, Paul Saladino's company just hit me up on Instagram to do an affiliate deal with them for their creatine. And I'm like, I've never taken an affiliate deal ever because nobody's ever come to me with an affiliate product that I actually use. But this one, I'm like, I am a creatine hound, so I will absolutely hop on board for the creatine.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's the first one that actually lined up with something that I do every day. So that was pretty funny. Let me see here. I'm on to make sure I'm going to go to this next one. I just am checking. All right, let me go to this. All right. It says, what about extra sharp cheese? Oh, you mean is it still going to make you eat too much? And the answer is yes, because extra sharp cheese, what it will help with is that there will be less milk sugars in it. But what it won't help with is the casein and casomorphine, and those are the two big things that open up your appetite and cause you to overeat it. And it's also hits your morphine or your dopamine cycle in your brain because it's just like what it sounds. It's morphine,
Yeah,
and so it lights up
my
your
favorite
brain.
cheese.
Exactly.
Extra sharp cheddar. Oh my god,
Extra sharp white
I can eat
cheddar.
a wheel of it this big.
Exactly.
That
I
was
I
good. Yeah,
I used to get the 3 pound blocks at
yeah.
Costco of the
Oh
Tillamook
yeah.
extra sharp white cheddar was always my favorite.
Love it.
Yeah, I could eat that stuff like
I
nothing
mean, I'd
else.
rather have it as a candy bar.
Exactly.
I mean, before I got on the diet.
And me too. What is ruminant? Ruminant animals are animals that have a split hoof, chew cud, and have multiple stomachs. So you're talking about lamb, goat, sheep, uh, beef, and even giraffes. Giraffes are
Yeah,
actually ruminant. I've
yeah.
never eaten one, and I'm not planning on it. But
Wow. I
yeah,
don't even know if it'd be legal to eat one.
no.
Yeah,
But fun fact about ruminant animals. The I almost don't want to invoke their name to get targeted, but the vegans tell you that cows are proof that you can get enough protein through grass and vegetables because it grows 200, 2,000 pound cows. It's not true. Cows don't grow off of grass. What happens is that their stomach ruminates the vegetation and it grows ruminants that are little protein bugs, and their stomach gets the protein from the protein bugs, and that's where they get their protein. They're not getting protein out of the grass. They're
no,
getting protein out of the bugs that culture the ruminating grass inside. And that's
yeah,
what they get it out of. So,
yeah. And they live on a high fat diet,
yeah.
and they get their protein from the little bugs, like you said,
Yep. 100%.
the
So,
microbes, the bacteria,
yeah. Yeah.
by the trillion and 100 trillion. Yeah,
Exactly. 100%. And, humans don't have four stomachs to sit there and ferment the grass to grow ruminants to eat the bugs. And that's why we're not, it's so disingenuous for them to say, there's a muscle protein synthesis chart from proteins that come from different things. And on beef, it's like 98 to 99% of the protein synthesizes to muscle. But on I forget what it is, but like grain is the bottom, and it's only like 3 to 7% of that protein actually synthesizes to muscle. And so it's crazy that they try to balance that and pretend like it's the same thing, that proteins are proteins. They're just not.
or they'll compare us to the primates, and our gut system's very different than the primates.
Yeah.
We have a large small intestine, and they have a very, very, very large intestine. I think, don't they? It may be backward,
Yeah.
but our gut system is very different than the closest primates to humans. They just selling their snake oil to people who don't know the truth about it.
100%. Let's see. Tammy says I'm a type 2 diabetic on a really tight budget. What do you think about Walmart frozen hamburger patties? Well, I say love them. Eat
Yeah,
them.
have at it. Yeah,
Yeah. But pro tip, if you're at Walmart, go get the lamb breast plate at Walmart. It is high fat, high protein. It's $3.98 a pound.
I'm gonna write this down. Lamb what?
Lamb breastplate. So it doesn't look like a breast. It sounds like it though. It's actually basically a lamb rack of ribs, and
Oh,
it has a ton of fat on it. It's got this skin on top that when you put it in the air fryer, or my favorite thing is to do is smoke it for a long time. It tastes like chicken skin, like crispy chicken skin. It
that
is
sounds
so
good.
delicious, but it has so much fat on it, plus these ribbons of good meat, that it is I think it's the best thing that you can get at Walmart, and it's under $4 a pound. I eat that stuff all the time. It's like, man, is it good? But you got to try that lamb breastplate. Not all the Walmarts have it, unfortunately, but a lot of them do. Todd, are you considering doing? I don't know what that is. Cruel like Barcade. I don't know. Oh, I think I've heard of that. I haven't considered it yet, but I'm not writing it off. I will look at it just to see what it's like, but I haven't paid much attention to it. Unfortunately, I missed Bart K's. Or was that Bart K? I think it was Bart K that was in SBG the other day speaking. But I missed that. But I'm gonna have to. I've heard of it now that you're mentioning it, but I haven't really looked into it that much. It's kind of been off my radar, but I hear that it's something pretty good. But I'll dang sure try it. I think Coach Alyssa talked to me about that. So yeah, I will look into it, and it'll be fun just to do a video series and try it for like a month or two. So yeah, I'll definitely throw something in there, especially since how I have all my labs right now. So hey Pam, how nice Todd can. Oh yeah. Maybe when I'm done. Wouldn't it be fun if we won the lottery and we could build like a carnivore rehabilitation camp or something and have
wow.
that'd be super fun. So I don't know. I think that hyperbaric oxygen therapy and those different therapies are getting more and more popular. And there's definitely places where you can go for like the price of a gym membership, and you can go there and use all those type of therapies now. I know that those things are starting to hop up, but I don't know. I just want to tell you, I want to see what they can do, and I felt like it would be fantastic YouTube content to, you know, what I said about going through hell and choosing to bring back tools. This is my way of bringing back tools. If I'm in this situation where I have to heal, why not use this as an opportunity to see what helps me heal the best so I can share it? And so that's kind of my thought on that. All right. Question. Bob, have you always been carnivore, or did you do keto first, and how long?
Well, we didn't call it carnivore back then. I'm not even sure that anybody said that word back then. But yeah, when I lost the weight the first time back in 2013, I basically had eggs, bacon, beef, pork, like uh, that's about all I can think of. I occasionally would have some that Smucker's peanut butter that's just peanuts is the ingredients in it. Yeah, I'd have that. But I eat very few vegetables. I can't remember actually eating vegetables back then on it. But I'm not sure, and someone can correct me. I don't remember anybody talking about just straight carnivore back then. But I knew that you should get very, very low on carbs. And I tried to get extremely low on carbs because that gave me appetite control like you wouldn't believe. Um, I'm finding out this time because I went straight to eating OMAD, real quick, that I'm probably not eating enough. And I've started, I felt good for a while, but then I started feeling really sluggish, and Todd's kind of helped me out to see that I probably need to increase my eating. I can't eat anymore at dinner. I eat a pretty good large portion at dinner, but so I'm completely full and I can't eat anymore. But I could add another time of eating, maybe a few hours before that. And I have been doing that as an experiment. It's possible that I will gain a little weight until I get right. I've been trying to learn about that system, and Todd can tell y'all about that. But I did the calculations, and even for the goal weight that I have, I was not getting enough protein, and that's not good. I mean, it's long term, it's not good for sure. So I've always taught, stop eating and let your chin and your fanny fuel you. And that's true, but you don't need to be nutrient deficient. And I probably am if I'm tired. You shouldn't be tired. You shouldn't be fatigued if everything's dialed in right. And I know this because I've lived it for a long time, and I wasn't this way, and I am this time for just a short while. So I'm doing an experiment to see what's going on. Todd, you might want to say something about this.
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, it's a simple, easy answer because it's just eat. First you test your system because at first, when your metabolism is low, which it is for so many people, because we've all did restrictive dietings for decades, a lot of us. And every time we hurt our metabolism and we downregulated our metabolism. So our body got used to that was one way we stopped the hemorrhaging and stopped putting on weight. And so our body's used to running off very little, but it means we have low energy output and we have these issues. But it also means that when you switch over to carnivore and you're finally getting even a little bit of satiation control back and you're finally getting building blocks, it's super easy. It's the most common thing is to undereat because we are used to having to white knuckle our own hunger and do without and shut down the noise and do everything we have to do to ignore it, to fight it. That when we actually start getting true satiation hormones without upregulating our metabolism so that our maintenance level is low, your maintenance level is high because it's so low. It's so easy just out of our past experience of the discomfort that we're used to dealing with to not overeat. It's super easy to feel satiated and it's super easy to undereat. And so SBG's put together a very awesome program that we see work all across the board. But basically, it's not rocket science. There's things that you need to do that will be super helpful for you. So I look, I've never gotten paid a penny by SBG. I will never get paid a penny by SBG. I donate all my time there because I've never wanted to put a money incentive to anything that I believe in because I want to be able to look you guys in the eyes and tell you what I believe in and go there. So I'm like,
I like that.
yeah, I don't want it in there. And so when I tell you to go to SBG because their $30 a month program is so valuable, and in fact, I'd love to do another live stream in like whenever with Bob because he's in there now.
Anytime, friend. Anytime.
Because I would love to get your honest opinion, and you don't owe me a single question. I just want to know what you think of that community because
Yeah.
after you really experience it, I think that it is the thing that makes such a huge difference because there are so many tools and tricks every day. And look, what they don't tell you about carnivore is that it's not a cakewalk and it's not going to be easy all the time. And your body's going to go through oxalate dumping and detoxing and gut bacterial die off that you're not going to understand. It's just going to feel negative to you. And if you don't understand the mechanisms that are happening behind it, your brain's going to tell you that all these people relying on this diet's crazy. And so there's an adaptation period that you have to get through and there's healing that happens. But when you understand what's happening and you can test those things with tools and tricks to help get symptom relief and help get you over those humps and you start getting the results, they're huge. And that's where this community thrives at. I'm in anywhere from 2 to 5 open chats for 2 hours every day a week, which is a live Zoom call where you could be on camera or you can keep your camera off. You can do whatever, but you can raise your hand. It's called open chat. And me and Coach Alyssa both co-host that together. And Coach Alyssa is amazing. If you haven't seen her story, go to No Carb Barb channel. And Coach Alyssa just did another interview, but the doctors gave her 3 days to live about 3 years ago. And
Wow.
all of her organs were shutting down from lupus, and she came back from that. And I love her story so much because she was the opposite of me. She was emaciated, underweight, and couldn't gain weight, and all of her organs were shutting down. So the same diet that I used to lose weight and the same priming and everything that I used to lose weight, she used it to gain weight because this is not about calories. This is not about if I eat more, I'm going to get too big, or if I undereat, I'm going to get small. This is about giving the power back to your body because it knows what healthy is for you and what you're designed to be, and it'll put you there when you get the building blocks there.
And
So,
Todd, do you know Rockin' Coach Amy that asked this question? She's been on my Rockin' Coach Amy.
oh, I think so. I've seen her.
She's been on my live stream a couple times, and she's really had to do a lot of experimentation to get her diet dialed in, and I think she's still doing it. And it's admirable, but it's frustrating. Everybody
Yeah,
wants a quick fix. There's not a quick fix, but there is an overarching thing that can help us. But we have to dial it in sometimes slowly,
100%. But
Yeah,
it helps when you know the uncomfortable things that are happening. And here's what I was really encouraged about. So I've known this for a while, but you don't hear a lot of people talk about this. But when you're really big and you lose weight, so they say the lucky ones get fat. Okay.
yeah.
If you're poisoning yourself and you don't get fat, then you get diseases, and you get autoimmune diseases, you get MS, you get all these diseases. I It's so funny because obese people get all the flack for being unhealthy, but actually it's how resilient our body is because it's trying to save us, and it's a defense mechanism too. And
100%. Yeah, it is.
and it really is. And so in our fat cells, though, there are toxins stored that our body was putting there on purpose to get it away from our organs because we weren't healthy enough to deal with it. And our immune system wasn't healthy enough to fight it. I think, ultimately it just stores it. But when you lose that weight, your body's got to go finally detox it. And those things can be uncomfortable. And why I was encouraged is because I've always known this and I've always gone through a lot of detoxes. So if you're losing weight and one day you wake up and you've got inflammation and your knees are sore, your back's sore, or you just feel crappy, a lot of times that's a detox because your body's finally doing what's called whooshing, where your body dumps a lot of water out of those fat cells. Well, that whole process is a detox process, and it has to go through your lymphatic system. And that's because it sends the toxins to your lymphatic system. It stores it in your lymph nodes, and that's where it fights foreign antibodies and bacteria. And so it kills those things in the lymph nodes. But what was interesting is I've been seeing a lymphatics physical therapist, and she was like, we're going to do these lymph massages, but she goes, you better be ready to do some detoxing because when this stuff hits your system, you're going to have detox, symptoms. And she wasn't kidding. And so that's very real. But if you're not around people that have gone through this before you and understand what those are and how to navigate them, you would just think that carnivore is bad for you, and you would back out of it. But the truth of the matter is it's what's going to clean you up and get rid of the detox and what's going to make everything run better. But yeah, let's see. Question: this coming Sunday, are you going to do a live stream, Bob?
No, I'm going to call it. This will be the Sunday night live stream this week. We'll do it again next week. Yeah. I'm in the busy season right now. I mean, that may be one reason I'm fatigued because I'm going through a little bit of busy season. But no, this will be the one. 'Cause I really wanted to have time with Todd. His story is so interesting. I mean, folks, interesting,
Gosh,
very interesting.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, very inspiring, actually. Yeah,
Thanks so much. Okay, we're gonna take the. I'm thinking we take these last two questions and we
yeah,
call it a night. What do you think,
yeah.
Bob?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. Let's see. Question: HBO2 is where it's at. Oh yeah, I got you. For deep tissue healing, hyperbaric treatment. The some I have wanted for years. I heal all damage to my brain for years. I did. I did as a fighter. Yeah,
Wow,
absolutely.
really?
Uh, yeah.
Wow.
There's if you want to find out a lot about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, check out that documentary called Quiet Explosions about our veterans in the military that were coming back with PTSD, and they found out that it was from like small damage, like microscopic damage from blast waves from being around explosives in their brain, and how they implemented hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
There's a lot of them that have that problem too. Believe me. Yeah,
For
I
sure.
know a couple.
Yeah. And we'll end on this one. I ate 3 meals a day with 1 to 2 pounds of meat in each one, along with
Rick.
eggs, cheese, butter. That's awesome, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick's awesome, and he ain't died of that heart attack yet. So I
No, he's
guess
been
there's
trying. He's been trying to get a heart attack for 50 years.
yeah. Keep at it, Rick. When you're 124 years old, you'll probably finally get there.
Rick don't eat no duck food.
I tell everybody that my goal is to when I leave this planet, I don't want it to be because I'm sick. I want it to be because on my 112th birthday, my chute didn't open when I was going to celebrate it or whatever.
Oh my God. Well, I mean,
There you go.
that's
Go.
right.
I want to cross over the other side, sliding into home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be in a position to do it by then too.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. It's been I can't believe you guys hung with us for 2 hours and 25 minutes.
We've been
But
going. Oh, I see the clock. I hadn't even noticed it.
yeah.
Wow.
So, but man, I love that you guys show up. We love you and we thank you so much for coming to
I
these.
do.
And keep coming back. I definitely, if any of you are struggling, and this is not an advertisement, this is a genuine. I do believe that community is everything for this because it's your new environment, and we build a huge community of support. And as much as I want you in our community to see it, I also want you to be part of the community so that the next month's people and the months after that, they come in and see from your testimonies and your experience and your progress, because that's what builds this from the ground roots. And I mean, if we're ever going to battle this system and we're ever going to take our food environment back, it's going to start with us, not with anybody from the top. And so we got to build relationships together. So I'd love to see you guys in SBG. And if not,
I've actually joined it, but I'm not being very active there. But I'm learning a lot. Yeah.
when you see the open chat community, when you're not in your busy season and you see what it is, I think you're going to be genuinely surprised, Bob.
Yeah. I need to learn.
Do.
I mean, anybody who thinks they don't need to learn has already defeated themselves. If you think you know it all,
you're in for a hard life.
You don't. I don't care who you are or how much you've learned.
Yep. 100%. But on that note, we appreciate you guys. We'll do this again soon.
Todd.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's been a pleasure. And we'll see you guys all later. And I'm ending the live stream.
All right. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye, folks.